Alright, well, we should be live. Holy shit. I am drunk as fuck. Alright, well, we should be live. Epic, so, okay. I don't know, I would really like to let it keep going to stretch out the video duration. I know that helps with, like, the YouTube algorithms and shit, but I am so fucking gone, honestly. I just got some shit from Walmart. Walmart is great at giving. So yeah, basically, first thing I'm gonna watch is this. This is absolutely outrageous, and in fact, it's illegal. I don't remember this. Vladimir Putin's on there. That's I don't know. I'm definitely gonna watch this. This is for. Yeah, no, I'm looking at my watch later. So yeah, we're going to start with this. So dude, uh. The honestly, the country has gone more Democrat over conservative since Trump. So honestly, Trump sort of had a downfall. I was just with a friend earlier, which is very, very weird. By the way, that's how I got all my alcohol. Usually I steal it, and this time it was sort of different. I still did steal it, but instead of my mother bringing me there to do her groceries, there was a friend, and he also brought me some stuff which we're gonna try in a little bit, which is some that I've never tried before. And I never did anything more than the weed or alcohol, really. Percocets, which was prescribed to me, that's about all I've ever done. Apparently, this stuff is like acid type shit. It's hallucinogens, so gonna try that probably in a minute. Like my friend said, if you try too much of that stuff, you might die or so much. So I should kill it. But like, fuck, dude, I'm drunk. Whatever. I don't really care. I mean, to be fair, I sort of lost my grip on caring about my health and shit. It's like, to be honest, like. I've sort of had depression and stuff for a while. It's like, who really cares, right? It's like, I don't know. Like, dude, I eat fucking. My fucking sleep schedule and my eating schedule about as fucked up. No, normally, these days I got my sleeping schedule on. But normally I'll like sleep until I don't know. Like I'll just wake up in the morning. I'll take my prescription pills, which are well these my Ritalin. So that'll make me not hungry. Like I won't be hungry when I wake up in the morning. Normally until like 2 3 hours after. But like by then I'll have taken my prescription pills. So then I won't be hungry until like in the evening. So sometimes I'll eat in the evening. Sometimes not. That wasn't always the case. I remember when I used to just OD the fuck on these pills. I had a problem with it at some point, and I would take like I'm prescribed 120 pills, like 4 a month, like 4 a day, like 120 a month. I used to take all of them in the first like a fucking 3 to 5 days, just have this fucking problem. Then I wouldn't have them for the rest of the month, but yeah, like back then, I would actually work out a lot of the time. I was a lot into working out. That's how I tried to get over my cramps at some point. And yeah, like I worked out. I didn't get more buff, and I didn't get less skinny, and I was eating a lot, and I didn't change weight. And now, well, guess what? I'm eating like once a day, sometimes like once every 2 days, whatever. It's like I don't really. I'm just lucky in that. I don't gain weight. I don't lose weight. I I don't know. Like no matter how much I eat, I at some point I ate like only fucking like junk food pretty much for like fucking months on just only junk food, just binge junk food. Never gained a fucking pound. Like always fucking skinny. Now I'm just eating like once every 2 days, like a few fucking things that don't really consist of a meal, and it's like, well, you know what? I'm not really losing the weight, so I don't know. It seems that whatever I do, I know this is sort of stupid. I know this is me being retarded, but you know what? I am retarded. If I'm getting the impression that whatever I do, like then's gonna happen, well, who fucking cares, dude? It's like my life's not really turning a turn for the better anyway, so might as well keep doing it. But either way, we'll watch this video, right? that's definitely I mean, it's not shocking, but can come in. Oh, 1 then 0. Yeah, it's not shocking, but I think this stuff is definitely really fucked up, and I'd like to talk about it. Some drunken stuff. Fuck yeah. By the way, let me just make sure that y'all could hear the noise. I just want to make sure that. Yeah, okay, y'all could definitely hear that. Okay. Dude, let me drink some more. Alright, I got a shot glass right here. Wait. I'm just gonna finish that. Okay. That's some. Looks nice, right? Hell yeah. But like, honestly, that's how you get over the taste. You just drink some water right after it. And it's like, then who knows? Maybe you could drink some of that. Maybe you could drink some of that. You don't have to really get that taste out of your mouth. Because it just tastes like garbage. So, yeah, let me get a bit more drunk. And maybe we'll try some of the hallucinogen stuff. Maybe we'll try some of my prescription pills with that. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna go about this, but it's probably gonna be epic. Like, I've been trying to get acid for a long time. I kept getting scammed. This is a good friend of mine. Like, he is literally a chemist. Like, he does fucking chemistry. So, like, yeah, he got over it, told me to put this shit in the microwave for like 5 minutes and put, like, I did all that, and it's like, bro, I'm so fucked. Dude, I'm getting the sudden feel, the sudden fucking, like, instinct that I need to shut the fuck up. And you know what? Maybe I should listen to that instinct. So I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna drink a bit of my hard-earned liquor. I worked a lot for that money to pay for this. Mayo. Dude, okay, let me remind myself to shut the fuck up. Pretty good. Yeah, anyway.
Last year, an analysis conducted by NPR found that Republicans across the country proposed more than 300 anti-trans bills. And with each passing day, it seems as if these...
Yeah, so let's get on this topic. So, it seems, honestly, like the GOP is losing its power. That's literally what I was trying to talk about with you, and I never finished the subject. Talking about going on tangents, I really need to work on that. Anyway, like, yeah, it really seems like, with the red wave that was expected and the fact that it really turned the other way around, that started getting me to think, yeah, but Republicans might actually be losing control of the majority in the United States. Like, after Obama came out, there was this big thing, like Trump took office, but now it seems that a lot of people are actually against that, and apparently polls show that people would like DeSantis more than Joe Biden. Now, that's not really surprising. Joe Biden is a corporate Democrat, as you all know. I like it. I mean, the man literally sent a stimulus check for me, and my mother was able, thanks to that, to take a plane trip back to France to go grieve for her mother after she died. She was able to go over there and take care of business with her mother dying. So I would never shit on Joe Biden. It's like, thanks to him, he made sure my mother got to go back to France and grieve for her own mother. It's like, I couldn't imagine losing my own mother. I'd kill myself. Like, but my mother's stronger than me, obviously. And like, Joe Biden did that for her. He made sure that she could go back to take care of business, go grieve for her, go see her family members around there. So, yeah, but thing is, Joe Biden is still a corporate Democrat. It's pretty obvious he wouldn't have a lot of success within the Democratic Party. Like, he panders a lot to Republicans, and that's one thing that, like, Yeah. Now, honestly, I will not say that's a bad thing. You are the leader of this country. Yeah, sure, Republicans didn't elect you, but you still represent them. You represent everybody in the United States. You don't even know who voted for you, honestly. Like, you don't know which Republicans might have voted for you. So, like, as a leader of the United States, whoever might have voted for you, you represent everybody. You have to take care of everybody. So, say that 70% of the country were Republican and 30% were Democrat. Even if you were an elected Democrat, you should still a policy that is supported by like 70% of people and opposed by 30%. If you represent your people, you should let go of your political fucking ideology of whatever fucking promises you make. If the majority of people who, once again, you represent are against what you represent and what you might have even promised, um, as someone who would have ran, I think it's like there are of course exceptions to that, but for the most part, I think yeah, even if you were an elected Republican, and since then, like, the Chiefs have turned against you, and the majority of the country is actually, like, not really in favor of the policies you went on anymore. Like, yeah, I agree with that, but, it really seemed like the I went on a tangent again. It really seemed like the Republican Party was losing a lot of grip on its people, but especially in these countries like apparently Oklahoma. Honestly, I'm so fucking illiterate. Before this video, I didn't even know Oklahoma was a red state. It, like it obviously is based on what you'll see in this video. Like I refuse to believe it's a blue state after that. But yeah, especially in these red states where some people live, and like it seems that as much as over in the country the red rhetoric is switching over to the blue rhetoric more and more, it seems that the GOP is sort of losing its power. Maybe the progressive movement is actually having some success, but yeah, as much as it seems that the country is going towards Democrat, at least in those red states, it seems that they're going more and more anti-trans. And as you'll see here, there's a new law apparently that either will pass or has already been passed, saying that until you're 26 years old, you're not legally allowed to be trans. Now, I think trans rights are human rights, as I said in the. I'm probably gonna have to change that title. I wrote it because I'm drunk, but like honestly, with my audience, with the audience I'm trying to get at, I'm trying to at least have some right wing people, since I'm ideologically mostly a, a Republican. I mean what's it called? I'm a capitalist. I'm against theft. I'm also in favor of free speech, and I'm against racism. Like all of these fit in with being right wing. So thing is, I don't identify with either party. I guess since like this fucking world is literally bipartisan, I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid to have just every opinion that could exist, which anyone could have any opinion on any fucking position. Anyone could take a left wing position, a right wing. Anyone could have half the fucking right wing positions, half the left wing positions. That could make sense. But yeah, with two cookie cutter opinions that literally make up the country, I guess I sort of have to pick my side, and I'd pick the right side. Honestly, if I had to ask, because it seems that the Democratic Party is more flawed. The Republican Party might spread more propaganda a lot of the time. The left might be more factually right about what they spew overall, but I definitely agree with right's rhetoric for a lot of the things, which like specifically with those three things. Of course, global warming. Yeah, of course it's happening. Of course it's a bigger threat. Trans rights are human rights. Gay rights are human rights. Yeah, the vaccine stuff. I made a whole episode like on all that stuff, but though I feel I'm getting off topic. But the whole point of this was yeah, it seems that in these red states, we're going actually in the opposite direction where like we're doing really bad actually in terms of trans rights. We're really marginalizing that group even more than it ever was. And I remember in high school and thinking these trans people, y'all are actually yeah, if y'all make a comment, y'all just keep talking about the fact that you're trans like all day. And everybody will just nod along and be like, oh yeah, actually that's really interesting. When like I just thought, dude, just shut the fuck up about your gayness or transness. And what I'm seeing here is that at least on a legal level, there was more transphobia than ever. And I have to reverse my position. Trans people are absolutely the most marginalized community other than furries, I guess, which don't really exist, which I like to make fun of them. I hope furries get recognized as a marginalized community if they aren't fucking already. Just so that they go mainstream and I can keep making fun of them. I feel like that'd be clickbait, and I would love to make fun of furries, but anyway, I'm not associating furries with the trans movement. I think some other people are. I'm really fucking drunk, but yeah, like, it seems that at least red states are getting more and more transphobic. It seems like there's a rising movement. In the Humanist Report, people like that have predicted that. I honestly thought this is just pandering, this is fear mongering, but like apparently I was wrong, he was right, so maybe I should take it more seriously on things like that. But either way, we're going to watch this, and the thing is, the country might be getting more and more towards, for example, supporting trans rights as human rights. Most people supported animal rights as human rights, as Ask Yourself might ask for, but of course, I don't think it's the same thing. But to some level, I wish animals were considered more fucking humane than they are. I don't think they should be brutally murdered for food. I think there should be more fucking humane standards, and hopefully even just removing the that agriculture entirely. But back on fucking topic, the problem with these red states getting more and more transphobic is maybe the entire population overall is moving away from that. Is that these red states aren't going to transition to blue, and I don't want them to, honestly. I think being Republican is the morally superior position, but in terms of trans rights, that's like I absolutely disagree with that. And these people don't just have the option to move into another state necessarily. Some of them are poor. Look at how who is the average person? People tend to say, oh well, if abortion wasn't legal, who knows how many people were aborted? One of them could have cured cancer. Vegan Games made a great point about that, which is most fucking people who get abortions are just poor fucking black ladies actually, which I'm not making a racist claim. I'm just saying black people on average are poorer than white people. You can call me racist over that. I don't care. Okay, I don't care. It's a fact that 2 generations ago segregation was a thing. Wealth goes down in generations, and with 60 years, you don't. So call me racist. I don't care, libtards. Like fucking call me. Like, yeah, that's just a thing. Black people on average more poor than white people. I don't care if I'm racist for spouting facts. Just like Tucker Carlson doesn't care if he's racist for spouting facts. That's just a fact. So yeah, the majority of people getting abortions are black women who are very poor. Just you'd imagine they get abortions because they can't afford to have a fucking kid, and they probably didn't want one to begin with. So yeah, these people are probably not gonna make any of that type of thing. But since these people are poor, you could also logically assume from that it follows they might not have the money to just, oh well, we're actually trans, so let's just move out of the country. It's like trans surgery by itself requires a lot of money. By the way, let me just make sure that I'm still live. Okay, I should be live. Yeah, like these surgeries cost a lot of money. You don't just decide overnight, oh, well, I feel like today I feel for like a girl. I don't know. I sort of met this like gay girl who I was really into. I asked her out and she said she was gay. So now I sort of want to become a girl. So yeah, I'll just tell my counselor about it in school, and like she'll tell a doctor, and like by tomorrow I'll be a girl. Like I'll look like it. Like it doesn't really work like that. So. Either way, that was a huge fucking dialogue that I went into. To be honest, I didn't even try to restrain myself this time. Like, I'm sort of drunk and sick. So this is gonna happen anyway. Either way, honestly, let me just go back from the start.
Last year, an analysis conducted by NPR found that Republicans across the country proposed more than 300 anti trans bills. And with each passing day, it seems as if these
Yeah.
laws are getting more and
This was
more draconian,
Carlson.
more extreme.
Yeah, and it really does seem that way. As much as the country seems to be shifting away from the GOP and more toward. I honestly don't know, because I'm really looking at a lot of people like the Humanist Report, and when I was in school, I was looking at, like, I was in Louisiana, and most of the people in my school were Democrats. Honestly, I hate to say that, but like, yeah, I was in gifted class, by the way. Most of the people were Democrats. Like, about half might have been Republicans. But honestly, the Democrats, if you disagreed with their opinions, people would have gone. Like, I never disagreed with any of anyone's opinions. I would never do that out loud in front of people in my school. So I didn't want to be fucking cancelled. I was literally autistic and putting on an act, pretending to be more autistic than I was, so that people would laugh at me instead of hating me for being antisocial, so that I'd give them something else to focus on when they looked at me, so that they'd at least see me in that positive lens instead of the positive lens of who I really was. So either way, I'm getting off topic here. What was the point? So yeah, I think most people, I don't know, it really seemed when I was in school, most people were Democrats, and I live in Louisiana. But yeah, for some reason it seems that like that really is true in red states. There's more and more draconian fucking anti-trans laws, and I get the intuition behind that. Some people, an increasing amount of people, really think that trans people are all fucking pedophiles. That transness is like this code, this hack that the Democratic Party probably endorses for, so that they could get more money or more power, whatever the thing is, and that it's actually a cult and a, like, not an ideology. People just made that up, and like transness is actually a fucking hack for grooming kids. And I mean, to be fair, people don't really trust the government anymore, especially on the Republican side. With CNN spouting their race hate, showing their true colors, proving that they were actually racist, and just going into absolute just clickbait, just shit posting once Donald Trump took power. Like, them having been known as a trusted authority figure for so many years, and all of a sudden going to that, yeah, that shifted a lot of people away from trusting the government, and they sort of applied this, oh, the media, CNN, that used to be a trusted authority figure that, like, now we've seen it no longer is. And they sort of applied that logic to every authority figure, so I definitely disagree with that, but yeah, that's sort of how it happened, and that's the same thing with transness. It is the same rhetoric, like, people on the right tend to think, oh, well, trans people are groomers. They tend to not really fall for the philosophy of, yeah, your gender and your sex can be different. Intuitively, it's sort of hard to make sense of that, but same thing for homosexuality. Why are people gay? Like, you can't reproduce if you're gay. It would make sense from a reproductive standpoint. Of course, the human race uh, the reason why we're attracted to each other is because the human race thrives off of reproduction. We're not asexual beings, we're sexual beings. So we reproduce through sexual means. That's why we're attracted to each other. It might not really make sense for gay people to say be gay, but then when we see them making out, it's like, okay, I wouldn't do that. Clearly you're gay if you do that. Okay, like I might not have taken you for your word, but now I mean, what other chance do I have? And it's like, I honestly think with the trans movement, if you're gonna transition over to a girl, unless you really at least believe that your sex and gender are different, and people like Tucker Carlson, for example, in his video "What Is a Woman," he explained that he definitely recognizes that men and women are different on a lot of scales. So yeah, it would make sense for someone's gender to make a sense for how they feel in their fucking head. Yeah, being a man and being a woman, even according to Tucker Carlson, does have more. It's not like a race thing. It's not like being black or white. There are other things that correspond to it. Like, you can't be transracial. That's not a disease, but gender, that's a completely different issue. You do like Tucker Carlson agreed. Men and women are fundamentally different, and what the fuck was I going on from there? Like, yeah, since men and women are fundamentally different, I think it would make complete sense for sex and gender to be different as well. It only logically follow, and I honestly don't get why people don't just learn to take people at their word. And it's on the left and on the right. Oh, Tucker Carlson's a racist because he's a nationalist. No, he isn't. Has he ever said, I think black people are inferior? Okay, so he's never said that, so you're just assuming that he believes that. You don't actually know that he thinks that because he never said that he thinks that. So, yeah, you're just assuming what he thinks based on what he didn't say. And it's sort of the same thing here. It's like, I wish people actually started to realize if this is 1% of the population, like, I guess if you had 100 people and one of those was really, you could say, okay, maybe that's maybe we ended up with this one person because, like, he's really weird, but, like, in 100,000 people, maybe he'd still be that one person and not one of these. But when you have such a huge thing, if you look at statistics, that's how it works. 1% of the population, considering the size of the US population, that's a really big fact. You can't say that, like, I don't know exactly what percentage of the US population is trans. It's probably less than 1%. But even if we say 0.20, a quarter of a percent of the population is trans, that is still huge enough to say it would be unreasonable to um just dismiss all of them as, oh well, you're either deluded, either someone like brainwashed you into thinking you're trans, as if people on average that stupid ever, either you're just a pedophile. Does that represent uh 1 in 100 of the people you know ever, like whoever you are? No, never. That is just not accurately representative of the overall population. So when you say, oh, trans people, either they're all delusional or they're all liars, it's a mix of the two. Either they were groomed into this as children or they're just weirdos, creeps with fetishes. Um, that's just not how people are. If you look at people around you, you know, definitely anybody knows more than 100 people. Imagine, say, the top 1,000 people you know best. Like, just think about something like that for a second. Are they groomers? Are they so stupid that they could be deluded into thinking that they are the opposite sex, or thinking that they are gay when they're actually straight? I think those two are genuinely good comparison. I've recently changed my mind on that. Dude, I'm honestly hoping that I become more popular, specifically so I can find more people to do debates with. I've only ever had one debate with anyone in my life, and I would really hope to have more debates. Either way, I'm getting really drunk, and I should two concurrent views. Yo, what's good? Um, dude, I really want to say the nigga word. Fuck, I guess I already said it anyway. I'm so drunk. I'm probably gonna say it. Just
Last year, an analysis conducted by NPR found that Republicans across the country proposed more than 300 anti-trans bills. And with each passing day, it seems
now more than 300. That's a huge amount, by the way. Imagine proposing 300 don't say gay laws or don't say trans. By the way, I do recognize that it's a whole different thing. You can be a transphobe, not be a homophobe, just like you can be a racist, and you can also not be an anti-Semite. Like, those are separate issues. I get they might be mixed to some extent. I guess that the logical reasoning that would apply to hating trans people would be the same as hating gay people. But when you look at the talking points that people bring on the table against trans rights and against gay rights, like, being against gay rights was a whole different thing from back then. And gay rights, like, that's just a whole different time dilation. So people from back then had different talking points, and if you just assimilate the same talking points, people are gonna call you out on that. So I don't even know if that's true, but it would only make sense now. I whatever. My phone. So anyway, like, yeah, the talking points aren't gonna be the same, and like, depending on who the talking points are supposed to like, target, whoever they're supposed to appeal to, the audience is gonna be different. So yeah, trans rights people say, oh well, our children are gonna be groomed. Like, I mean, that, I don't know if that could that even have been an argument with gay people. I mean, to be fair, people who say, oh, transness isn't real, they'll tend to show women, like, they'll try to show a man transitioning to women, because if you show, like, men who have transitioned from female to male, it's like they have a beard and stuff. It's like, how are you gonna try to convince your viewers, oh well, these aren't real males, they have a beard? Like, it's sort of harder. That's why they'll constantly show women, and not all of them. Just because if you look up trans, women will show up, because this rhetoric has already been used. So yeah, I'm definitely not calling Tucker Carlson a propagandist, just so you know. But I'm going again on a dialogue, and I haven't even.
as if
Jesus.
these laws are getting more and more draconian, more extreme, and I think we're beyond the point to where it's time we sound the alarms and acknowledge what's happening here and what this party is trying to do to this community of Americans. But first, let's get to the latest.
No, I think it's fair to point out this party is very misinformed. This party really thinks that people who are transphobic, they really think that trans people are rumors. They really do not believe that trans dysphoria is a real mental disorder. They got so indoctrinated, they really believe that trans dysphoria, either they might never even have heard of the term, but they probably believe that it's not a real mental disorder, and the Democratic Party just pushed the idea that it was a mental disorder, and they got through it because they believe that all authority figures, the media, all the literature, they are all fucking, like, people honestly started believing more and more in this Illuminati shit since CNN showed their true colors. They just assimilated all of that to the same stuff, and they think we can't trust the government anymore, we can't trust the authorities anymore, and they think that the Democratic Party somehow sneaked, like, this whole thing for whatever fucking agenda, for whatever like for whatever like purposes, and for whatever fucking political ambitions they might have, for whatever they might have to gain from that, they'll make up some that they can't find any. most Republicans who are anti-trans really believe that the trans movement is sort of made up. People make up that it's actually a belief. Then people will think either people indoctrinated into that it's just pedophilia, but none of this is legitimate, and it's just pedophiles trying to hurt kids. The average transphobic, that's how they'll justify it to themselves. So the average transphobic person doesn't have the stance. People who were born with a mental disorder that makes their sex and gender opposite, um, yeah, I don't care about them because they're different from me, and that's just disgusting. No, their stance is they're pretending that that's the case. If that was actually the case, I'd be fully supportive of them, but um, I don't believe that's the case. I believe these people are pedophiles just trying to say that even though it's not true, trying to lie about this stuff. And since I'm in favor of kids, I will follow. And the reason why it's so easy for them to be tricked into that is because it's already easy for someone to, when they've known someone for I don't know, let's say you've known someone for years and you've known them as a woman, and all of a sudden they're telling you I'm a man, and it's like you don't recognize them in that. You've always seen them as the opposite gender, because gender really doesn't matter. When someone is women and men will act differently, they will behave differently. It's not like black and white. Like only the fucking um only the culture of poverty versus richness is exposed there, but men and women are really to a biological level different. And so, yeah, when you've known someone for a long time, it's like, say, a man, and they tell you I'm a woman, it's like, you don't recognize them. You're like, that's not who I've known you for. And you might have a hard time wrapping your head around that. I get that. I understand it. But it's like, these people, when on top of that, they're given the talking points that they would want to hear that would make them more comfortable. Oh, you don't have to go and, you don't have to worry about your fucking your moral philosophy, your moral compass just being fucking shattered. You don't have to worry about that because no, actually, let me give you an easier topic to rattle. Are you against child abuse? Well, your position is right. You don't have to worry about this harder topic. Oh, is sex and gender really different? No, you can just assume because we're telling you and you trust us. And these people were also brainwashed by other people who also told them that oh well, trans people are just full of shit. Um, no, there was no such thing. You could intuitively see it. So just stick to your intuition. Yeah, it makes no sense. Someone you've known them as a man for so long, and all of a sudden no, that doesn't make sense. Well, stick to your intuition. That's wrong, and these people are just groomers. That you're giving them a reason to be right without having to try and figure it out by themselves. And since they're uncomfortable with thinking, how could gender and sex be like not aligned? I'm they will be uncomfortable with that discussion, with whether it would make sense, whether it's reasonable to believe someone who would say something like that, especially when they come in such huge scales. Yeah, Republicans just give you an alternative explanation that is way more appealing to you if you're uncomfortable with this realization. Either way, I've drank so fucking much, I might have to go use the bathroom, and after that, I might take some of these hallucinogens, see what they do. Dude, I'm so drunk. Alright, buddy. I'm back, so. Dude, I have to snap my door to close it. Like, one of the fucking screws literally comes off. Like, yeah, my doorknobs fucking. Dude, I almost fell. My doorknobs are broken, so. Um. Yeah, let me see if I could, show you real quick. So, yeah, it's in this Tostitos box. There's a lot of cough medicine apparently in there, my boy told me. So I'm just gonna take. Oh my god, it smells and tastes so much like medicine. Let me go prepare another water bottle. Just so that I can, like, take more of, more alcohol and shit because I'm running out of water. Bro, what am I doing, bro? Holy shit. Alright, well, I got my 2 water bottles. Anyway, you probably saw me put them there. Anyway, dude, I should check my chat. Holy fuck, I'm so drunk. I got 3 views and 2 current views, except I got 3 and not 2, bro. That's fucking lit, dude. Before I... Okay, so, you know what? I'll take better this shit. It's supposed to make you hallucinate. Look, I'm gonna take 1 scoop. See, I'm gonna take 2. 5 actually, that's how much I took. Make that 6. So I have no idea what the dosage. Actually, let me take 7. Take a bigger 7th. 8. Okay, let me calm down on that because I'll take a 9th actually. Yeah, let me calm down because my friend did tell me. Yeah, like if I take too much of this, I could die. So I did not take. Okay, okay. I should be fine with that. I should definitely be fine with it. Holy shit, I'm drunk and I'm getting paranoid over this. Yeah, he told me like a 10th of that could definitely really fucking do some That's like, no, that looks fine, that looks fine. I think I'll be good anyway. Fuck. Okay, yeah, anyway, let me get that out of my mind before I start getting paranoid over that. I take my prescription pills with it. If I feel like it, you know what, I'll do that later. Anyway, let me get drunk. Dude, I really hope I didn't make a really bad mistake. I really hope I won't be tripping way too hard on that. I think that's honestly all the alcohol I should take. I should, I know, my friend specifically warned me about taking uppers and downers at the same time, so... I don't know if this is an upper, I don't know if, like, acid, that type of stuff's an upper. Either way, I'm gonna trip. I'm gonna feel good. I might take my prescription pill with it. I hope I'll be okay. I should be okay. For the most part, at least. So, I'm not too worried about what will happen here, but... Wait. Let me just take some of that. Ah, fucking hell. Alright. Yeah, bro. But, should I smoke weed? And I'll just smoke some tobacco. So basically what I do, let me see, right here I have this, so, yeah, either way. I heard that, when you're smoking fucking, I know, I heard that when you're on acid, it's pretty lit to fucking smoke tobacco also. I heard that from Goblin, let me see, what's his name? I definitely need to add this to watch later. Yeah, I don't know, this guy Goblin said that, like, when he's tripping, he really likes hitting his fucking squares and shit. He calls it squares, so... Yeah, I got some fucking cigarettes. I just sort of break them down. Now, usually since I'm so fucking autistic, I don't know how to rap. I'll get some people who will buy me things like this, right? Like that's, you know how there's tobacco attached to that? Usually you could just remove the tobacco from there and you could add weed to it. And then like it's sort of wood, so it doesn't burn off as fast as plastic. And you could add weed to that. Well, you could also get a cigarette and just break it down and just just add weed to that shit. And honestly, it smokes better than cigarettes. I'll tell you that. Obviously, I don't think anyone should be smoking cigarettes or weed. I think weed fucking destroys your brain cells, and nicotine just sort of makes you feel like fucking cancer for a few seconds. But either way,
this law proposed from the state of Oklahoma. As ABC News
no.
reports, a new bill would make it a felony for anyone under the age of 26.
Honestly, when I'm drunk, I like fucking smoking squares too, to be
And
honest.
what this party is trying to do.
Yeah, by the way, let's just take note of this. 26 isn't adult. 21 isn't. Like, this is way over the age of 21. This is insane.
To this community of Americans. But first, let's get to the latest law proposed from the state of Oklahoma. As ABC News reports, a new bill would make it a felony for anyone under the age of 26 to access gender-confirming care in the state of Oklahoma. Senate Bill 129, sponsored by Republican State Senator David Bullard, is the most recent anti-transgender care bill to be introduced in an ongoing...
Why 26? At 16, you can drive a car. At 18, you can vote. At 21, you could drink. There's nothing that's specific to being 26. Why 26?
Going push against gender-confirming care.
If you could join the military and decide you're going to die for the government, I think it's 18 now. Maybe 16. Why shouldn't you be able to make the choice of transitioning your body? Now, a lot of conservatives say these changes are permanent. Yeah, why wouldn't you get to make that hard choice? If you get to make other hard choices, like, most people considering voting to be that. I don't think voting is that fucking much of anything, but, dude, I'm starting to feel weird. I really hope I didn't drink too much, and I hope the drunkenness will go away, because I'm feeling very weird. I'm feeling something that I haven't felt before hitting me. And it's like, I'm getting scared.
By
which is good. I might have a bad trip, and I've heard a lot about bad trips. And it seems from what I've heard that like you might have better memories from it, from what I've heard. Either way, I hope I didn't take too
Republican
much. I
legislators
really
across the
hope so.
country. Under this bill, physicians and healthcare providers cannot provide gender transition
I
procedures to a patient under
hope
the
I
age
didn't
of
take too much.
26 or refer them to.
Bro, let me just real quick. What's this breaking news about? Okay, so I just tweeted to my deal. Look, I don't know what this is, like this substance. I'm streaming and I'm drunk as fuck. Assume I am 170 pounds because he told me to weigh by pounds. I just took 6 to 8 small teaspoons of this. Please answer before I start the trip. I'm getting nervous. You'll be fine. He just answered, you'll be fine. Thank you so fucking much. I really hope, like, he might have answered this because, like, in an acid trip, what matters, he answered immediately, you'll be fine. Now, in an acid trip, what matters a lot, I've heard from people, is your mentality, how you'll feel from it. If you have a bad trip, you'll be bad. So he might have said that because he's scared I'll have a bad trip, so he wants me to be fine. But either way, if he says that, I definitely want to die from this. I hope I have a bad trip on a live stream. That'd be amazing. I really hope I have a bad trip. I think, like, it might suck while I'm tripping, but honestly, for content, uh, now, I will do anything for content. I will fucking blow up firecrackers. I've also walked over some dumpster, which honestly I've ridden my scooter over. Like, I will put my life in danger for content. I will do anything for content. So, yeah, if I have a bad trip, I would take 4 tabs for content, even though I've never taken them on acid. So, he says I'll be fine. That might tempt me to take more, actually. I will wait 30 minutes and then I'll take more. But I will see what will happen. Let me ask him, um, fuck, I shouldn't be looking at this since either way, let me chill out. I'm on my live stream, I'm in my comfort zone, I'm chilling, I'm fucking with some of this, then I'll just look at Tucker Carlson if,
To any
like, I love Tucker Carlson, I won't have a,
healthcare professional
should I fucking drink more alcohol? I'm not
for gender
sure.
transition procedures. A referral would be classified as unprofessional conduct and may
Let me go back a
care
bit.
by Republican legislators across the country. Under this bill, physicians and healthcare providers cannot provide gender transition procedures to a patient under the age of 26 or refer them to any healthcare professional for gender transition procedures.
Refer them to, I don't know if that's counselors, but 26. Why do you have to be 26? Why? Fucking why? What? When has anything been 26? That's insane. So this is very clearly transphobic. If you said 18 or even 21, then I could like I could definitely give you the benefit of the doubt, say maybe you're being reasonable. Maybe you're saying if you shouldn't be allowed to drink, which you might believe, until you're 21, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to change your sex until you're 21. That would make sense, but 26, what is something that you only have the right to do um once you turn above 21? Give me any example of something that you are granted the right to do as a citizen, um, but only above the age of something that is above 21. Give
A
me an
referral would
example.
be classified as unprofessional conduct and may result in immediate.
I'm honestly getting fucking not skeptical. I need to work on my words. I'm getting paranoid over this shit. Just knowing that I took it, knowing I like my friend told me if you take too much you'll be fucking dead, and nope, of course I shouldn't take more. Yeah, like I'm just sort of feeling paranoid, but I should get around that. Like, come on, bro, we chilling, bro, we chilling,
Revocation of the
bro.
license or certificate.
Let me drink more, like that. I'll just feel more chilling, you know. And let me just smoke some more as well. Yeah, probably if I get more drunk. I mean, to be fair, I'm not a very reasonable person. I'm not a very smart person. I'll just do whatever on impulse, and that's always worked out for me. I know that doesn't logically mean that it always will, but what else do you want me to do? Like, why am I still speaking? Either way, I should fill up my shot glass. Let me do that, in fact. Actually, let me do that. Dude, I'm being so retarded. Holy shit. Alright, boys. Should I? I don't think I should smoke weed on top of that. I don't know. I like the idea of mixing as many chemicals as I can for maximum content, but I think that's stupid. I don't think I should do that. I don't think it's smart. I might take one more shot though. And I'll take half a shot. That way, if I start like randomly in 30 minutes, it's like I don't see my screen anymore. What is this? This just I don't even know what this reads anymore. Translates to human rights, more like flight rights. Human flight is like, dude. I feel like I sort of sound retarded right now, and
Of the physician or other healthcare professional. So let's take a moment to pause and really take in what we just read here.
you know what? Let me get high. I think getting high is a great idea. I've got a bunch of Zalzal right here. I think that's a good idea. Why wouldn't I want to get high? Actually, let me just smoke some fucking nicotine first. Some of that shit.
They are trying to ban adults in Oklahoma from transitioning. Adults.
Keyword adults.
Now, gender, that's a form of expression. Expression is protected under the First Amendment.
Now that's a very good point. Like, free speech, conservatives are definitely going down the right path, protecting free speech, then ultimate like protecting free speech before anything else. Like I think that's a noble cause. I think that's a noble fucking cause. You should do that. But like I don't think let me see. Like what the fuck did I say? Like yeah, I think you should definitely what? Oh wait. Yeah, I was talking about free speech. Yeah, free speech is definitely a noble cause, but it extends to more than that, such as when someone decides, I don't know, because you could really label anything as speech. Like, when you decide to kneel for the national anthem, I think free speech would be anything that tries to deliver a message, a concrete message that you can definitely say what it is. My bad. It's like, my bad. Um, Anything like that, it's like, as long as it doesn't violate any laws, and like, as long as it doesn't violate any laws, such as kneeling for the national anthem, it's like, yeah, you could recognize that as free speech. Doing something to yourself, for example, transitioning, that couldn't hurt anybody else. Except if you go and groom people, but that's a different story. That has nothing to do with you transitioning. That is a whole separate issue. So yeah, if you choose to do that to yourself, it's just your fucking right. I guess you could say, oh well, if you're fucking 3 years old, yeah, you might not know that. Maybe you should be forced to wait for your own best interest. Be forced to wait until you definitely know what's going on, and then you could but like, dude, I don't know what the
So
fuck
you
I'm
have
saying.
Republicans brazenly violating the First Amendment, along with the 14th Amendment, to
Now, to be now, First Amendment, it's like, as long as you don't go against any laws, and I think transgender, that's fair, but you can go a long way when you just say, or when you just attribute anything to First Amendment without actually saying anything. It's like, you could sort of say that January 6th was First Amendment with that rhetoric. So, yeah, I think it's important to point out, as long as you don't break any laws, it is still First Amendment rights. Gender expression is literally a term that's well known. Someone says gender expression, they like the average person is at least Democrat has probably heard this term. So yeah, it is a form of expression. It is a form of free speech. I definitely will buy that argument. I don't. Thing is, you could categorize anything as free speech. You do anything, you're really like fucking sending the message that I believe that I should be allowed to do this thing. So I would add the message, as long as it's legal, it is First Amendment rights. But like, I'm sort of drunk. I don't know how this extends. Yeah, I should wait to be on my prescription pills. Honestly, let me fucking take half of one. I think that's a ridiculous idea. I think it's insane. That will definitely affect me. But I will take half of one fucking anyways, just because I'm a retard. Dude, I was already high. How many drugs am I under? Am I going to be under the influence of? So nicotine, is that really a drug? Okay, fuck off. Alcohol, weed, whatever that shit is, some hallucinogens, and then this, which is okay. So who the fuck is
target
dude?
this group of adults and say, you're not allowed to live your life and express yourself in a way
I'm
that we
really
disagree
tempted to
with.
say the N word. Anyway, let me go on and check my chat. Oh, I have 2 new notifications on Twitter. Let me go on and check out my own chat first. Oh, nothing happening. Okay, that's great. How about on Twitter? Who's? Hell yeah, bro. Bro, both of them. Isn't that a well-known account? Oh, they don't have a lot of followers. To be honest, bro, I this what's 38? Dude, I have no fucking clue what this means. I'm so gone, but like, you know what I might try to do? I fucking forgot. But anyway.
Now think about what that means for all of the trans adults under the age of 26 in
Holy
Oklahoma.
shit.
This
Yeah, that is really fucked up. That
would literally force them to detransition. So
no, I didn't get this argument at first, but then I sort of thought about it. Like, as I was making my way to selling shit, I was like, wait, like, yeah, this might force them to detransition if they aren't finished with their transgender surgeries. They wouldn't be able to finish going through it. Unless they're like 26, or if they're halfway through, I guess that forcing them to not take any additional care when they need to finish their surgeries, which take a long time, you don't just transition overnight. I guess people who are in the middle of that, like, yeah, that would sort of force them to stop taking their surgery, stop receiving their surgery, which would yeah, I remember my Spanish teacher at some point saying that, yeah, by the way, even if you're in jail, you have the right to transition. You get transition surgery like provided to you for free, and it's like I really love my Spanish teacher. He was hardcore right wing, but I'm not sure what to make of all these views. Like there are a lot of things. Apparently, even if you go to jail, you still have the right to transition surgery, but the average person who's below 26 doesn't get that right. Like that's fucked up.
what this bill is trying to do is make it so that way
Dude, I should
doctors
get
in
more
Oklahoma
drunk.
would be so
Let me
afraid that
finish
they
my shit.
wouldn't
Yes.
treat trans adults with gender affirming care. We're talking about an entire community being legally erased in a state in the United States in the year 2020.
I don't agree with that. That's like 26 and up, but honestly, it's just as bad. Like, what do people under the age of 26 have that makes them like that makes it wrong for them to have the same rights as anybody else? Like, uh, yeah, I agree, and everybody agrees. Like, at 13, maybe you shouldn't have the right to transition. Like, this is specifically targeting adults under the age of 26. Now, this doesn't mean everybody, but again, you could assume from this that they might get more fucking draconian with this. They might get more fucking radical and say, oh, well, 26 isn't enough. How about let's make it fucking something bigger than that? I mean, 26 instead of 21 is already a pretty big push. Anyway, let me get some more fucking. Yeah, my cat's making noise. Um. Mhm. Let me just hope that I don't trip too fucking hard. Just too fucking hard. Let me hope that I can still respond to all of this when I'm tripping balls. But I said I'd get high too. Y'all, I'll get high.
23. This is horrifying, and seeing this news sent chills down the back of my neck because this is where we're reaching genocidal territory where they're not just saying genocidal things and using genocidal rhetoric. They're trying to enact a genocide against this community by legally getting them to disappear.
To be honest, that seems like we're
Now,
going.
this isn't the first anti-trans law proposed by the state of Oklahoma. In fact, they already have a plethora
Not
of
surprised.
anti-trans laws that have been.
Yeah, you said Wow, that didn't seem like something a transphobic person would say. Um. Sounds like a pro-life would say that though. Anyway, what did he just say?
Anti-trans laws that have been passed to disappear. Now, this isn't the first anti-trans.
Yeah, to be honest, if there's been like over 300, as he said earlier, like the fact that some of them would have been employed by Oklahoma, which is I'm going to have to assume from this a red state, and there aren't that many of them. Probably a lot of come from
Trans
this,
law
yeah.
proposed by the state of Oklahoma. In fact, they already have a plethora of
Who
anti-trans
the
laws
fuck even
that
has
have been
7
passed that are deeply discriminatory. ABC News continues, Oklahoma currently has laws in place that ban trans athletes in state schools from participating in sports that...
Okay, so Vegan Games made a whole video on this. That's a whole separate issue. Like, there are already athletes that, for example, like if you're born with some issues that, like with high testosterone levels, for example, as a female, you won't be allowed to compete in female sports. And that's sort of the same thing. This isn't a trans rights issue. This isn't an issue of whether or not you recognize them to be trans. If they have an unfair disadvantage, an unfair advantage over other people, as of being like the testosterone, a lot of these levels, a lot of things that would attribute to like helping you in sports as a man who's transitioned. A lot of these aspects of being a man, transitioning won't really take away these advantages that would be given to men over women by nature, I guess, like when you're born. Like a lot of these things still give trans women a huge advantage over women. So yeah, I think this is more a question of like for example, women with huge testosterone, they've been forced legally to either not compete, either take like surgeries that would reduce their testosterone and stuff like that. So if it can be proven that trans athletes have a disadvantage over males in athletic sports, now I think this is a question of if you believe that steroids should be allowed in sports and you believe that trans athletes shouldn't be allowed in sports, I think you're being perfectly consistent with your views. If you believe that steroids, for example, should be allowed in sports, but trans athletes shouldn't be allowed, then you're completely inconsistent. So that'd be my views. For example, now, being trans isn't a decision you necessarily make, but some people, for example, born with one arm, vegan games have talked about this. There are some sports where, like, being born with one arm, for example, with one leg, it'd give you a huge disadvantage in a student sport. And people have been born, people who are amputees or who have been born without a limb, some of them aren't allowed in sports. So I think this is less a question of morals and more a question of practicals. And sometimes these two go against each other, and sometimes you have to make the best of two evils. And this might be an example of that. Of course, I haven't gone far into that. I don't even watch sports. I don't care about them. But yeah, I'm not gonna make a stance on trans athletes. I don't know much about that, but I don't think it's transphobic necessarily to say trans people shouldn't be allowed in some competitive sports. I don't think that's necessarily transphobic. Let me look at my live streaming thing. 3K count views, 6 views. Looking great. How great do I look? Oh, I look like I'm back fucking sage. Let me just bring my chair back over so that I look less like a dumb cunt. Honestly, no, it's not like if I take my webcam low. Let me just do this. Like, the way my webcam's probably gonna show me more. Anyway. Like, let me see by the way if I gained any sub. Probably not. Yeah, 24 subs. As I expected. Honestly, that's pretty good. I've made some good
correspond with their
progress.
gender identity, a ban on trans people using the bathroom that aligns with their gender identity, and bans on non-binary...
Yeah, bathrooms. I haven't thought about that issue, but I don't really
binary
care, to
gender
be
markers
honest.
on state birth certificates. So this state has already made it clear
Not
that
acknowledgement, I
they
know, but
don't
whatever.
just not care about their trans residents, but they actively are trying to do them harm. And they're not.
Dude, my Ritalin, my fucking prescription pills might have started hitting me. Let's fucking
Not
go.
alone, unfortunately, because other states like Florida, Alabama, Arkansas, Idaho, they all make it
Of
more
course they
difficult
would.
to legally
I
change
don't know about Arkansas, Idaho. I don't know if either of these states are Republican slash Democrat. I don't know. The only states that I know are definitely Republican, so Florida, Texas, Louisiana, since that's my state. I've heard it's mostly left wing. I've heard it has a Democratic governor. I don't know if that's still the case. I've heard my mother talk about this a lot of the time, that it has a Republican governor. I don't know much about that. I feel that Florida, so let's say definitely Alabama and Texas, Mississippi. I don't really know anything about any other state. And I don't even know. I think Idaho and Arkansas are probably in the south. I know New York and California, blue states. That's about all I know about any state being blue or
your
red.
gender. But now we're seeing what was once just a couple of obstacles being taken to the extreme. And now they want to forcibly detransition trans people and ban adults from being who they really are.
I don't know if that's necessarily the right thing, but he has every right to be offended over that. People are saying your mental disorder isn't real. I believe that, and based on me believing that, based on me believing that your mental disorder isn't real, I'm just gonna remove your rights to be treated for that mental disorder, and I think that's wrong. I don't think you have any right to do that.
It's
Actually,
sickening, and I want to be very clear
like,
here
as a
that this is
Republican, I
not the
don't think
start of
that's
some new trend. As Aaron Reed pointed out on
there's
Twitter
some
back on
good
December
ass fucking
7th, New
weed in
Hampshire has filed a law which will detransition
Oh
all
yeah,
trans youth and young adults. If it passes, this is the third bill this week that targets trans adults along with trans youth. They will
he's saying detransition a lot. I'm very drunk. Obviously, I don't know. I know he tends to have a bias towards the left wing a lot more. He even tends to be more left wing than left wing, which is, I appreciate that. If you're gonna be more extreme than left wing, that sort of shows that you're probably being consistent with your views, and you're probably not following the status quo, and you probably have genuine beliefs, which yeah, that only goes to show that the humanist report, he's not a propagandist, he's not full of shit. He really says what he really believes, and I agree with him with a lot of things he says, but forcefully detransition people, I feel like he might be going a bit overboard here. I don't like people who are over 26, they would make up the majority of the adult population. They wouldn't have to detransition, so I definitely think his argument is valid, but I don't agree with every bit of it. That's really all I have to say from this. But let me definitely make sure I don't drink any more alcohol, but like this weed right here, I'm definitely gonna smoke that, you
will
bet.
continue to raise the age until states ban transition entirely. She adds, we are going to see a state shoot for 25-year-old trans bans this year, eventually trans bans for everyone. We have been saying a slow-moving genocide.
That's only that only logically follows from all this. That's a very logical position to
targeted
take.
at eliminating
Honestly, I have
transgender
to
people
say
through
that.
eliminating gender-affirming care.
Like, as right wing as I am, and I'm very right wing, I can't really
Happening.
disagree
It
with
continues. And look at how quickly she was proven right. Now Oklahoma is trying to ban gender-affirming care and transitions.
When did she say
gender-affirming care?
2022. Okay, December 6th. Yeah, well, that wasn't too long ago, honestly. She didn't predict that
it continues.
A long time ago.
And look at how quickly she was proven right. Now Oklahoma is trying to ban gender-affirming care and transitions for anyone under the age of 26. This is absolutely horrifying, And if you
Oh
care
man,
about trans people,
should I take more of
now
that
is the time to speak
potion?
up. It's already bad enough for trans children to where if you are the parent of a trans child in states like Texas, you now have to flee the state in order to avoid losing your child to child
And
protective
you don't necessarily have the money to do that. Especially if you're the average person who's already had to, like, go through the trouble of trans surgery. That costs a lot. Yeah, it's all like I don't know, like immigrants trying to flee the cartels. It's like go by the legal means of becoming a naturalized citizen. It's like, do you necessarily have the resources and the paper? Like, can you really do paperwork if you're running for your life from the drug cartels? It's like not necessarily. So like, just do the papers. Just go by the legal ways. I know the legal ways. My mother has spent like years. I know the average person from France who's like literally coming over here because my mother's a French immersion teacher. The average French immersion teacher who is literally get granted a visa to come here to like teach people in the United States, just teach them French immersion, which is basically a program where you teach kindergartners or first graders or up to fifth grade. My mother teaches specifically either first or second, either I mean kindergarten or first grade. Like just a program in French. Yeah, they granted a visa for that, and to get a green card, it takes like 10 to 20 years on average for people who come from France, which a lot of them are white, by the way. You might notice. So yeah, no racism in this. Um, yeah, it takes them that much time to get over here and to get the green card granted, and a lot of the time it doesn't happen. They're denied. Sometimes for no reason. So like yeah, thinking that immigrants should be, and same thing for trans people. Who knows how rich these people are? Tweaking confused, absolutely no live chat. Y'all are gays for not giving me live chat to react to.
services since they're investigating parents,
LMAO.
or they were investigating parents of trans kids before a court had put blocks on that. But it's getting horrifying. That's kind of the takeaway. Like, I just want you to understand it's getting horrifying to where trans people have to flee states, if not the country, in the near future because of where this is going. So if you actually care, it's
Yeah, the country I
not even
doubt
about
it.
like if you care.
Sure, the Supreme Court has a lot of power, but I have to say I doubt unless the Supreme Court. There's so much. Just thought about it. They honestly might. Yeah, they honestly might. I don't know why Biden hasn't packed the Supreme Court. Like Roosevelt has this guy's mentioned he should a lot of times. But yeah, unless the Supreme Court does that, I don't think there's any threat really. No, fleeing the country specifically. Like maybe states, but
About
country I
trans
doubt
people
it.
specifically.
But still, like you know, white people would have a problem. For example, conservatives would have a problem with people building a border wall over their property. It was a big problem. Even my mother, who's a socialist, mentioned that. Yeah, there's a huge problem with that because property rights. You can't build a border wall over someone's property, say. Well, same thing for that. Like you've owned your house forever. It's like you're being forced to move. That's not okay. That's not fair to say. Oh well, since people want to get to have laws that protect them, they'll have to move to another place. It's like I'm completely for state by state decisions because I think practically it's a good thing. But I definitely have to agree. That's a logical inconsistency I need to work on. Like yeah, there are things like this which are undeniably wrong. Like I think state by state decision is something we should keep. for democracy, for example, like if we made a, yeah, let's have, instead of sovereign country, that's for, by the way, that's the argument for nationalism, the biggest argument. Yeah, we should have separate countries that all focus on protecting the rights of their own citizens before the rights of anyone else, like no matter how immoral that may be. And that's the argument that Tucker Carlson makes for against illegal immigration. That like we can't take the world's misery on our back. We have to concentrate on ourselves. Otherwise, we'd be too weak to even take care of anyone else to begin with. And it's like what the fuck was I even going with? Like, yeah, to be fair, wait.
It's not even about like if you care about trans people specifically. If you're a decent human, about like if you care is going. So if you actually care, it's not even about like if you care. Have to flee states, if not.
You have to flee states. Yeah, that was basically what my argument was based on. It's like, what the fuck was I saying from that? Like, yeah, as much as you can say, yeah, if we just made one huge nation, we can definitely make the argument, yeah, every nation doesn't treat their citizens equally, and every nation doesn't put as much effort into, for say, into putting their citizens' human rights, giving as much priority to them. So if you're born in Mexico and therefore you do not have the US's human rights that apply to you, you have Mexico's human rights, and they aren't necessarily the same. It's like you were just born there. That's the same thing as your ancestors being born in Africa versus the United States. Therefore, you being black, that shouldn't disqualify you from any rights that apply to the average US citizen, say white people. Well, same thing for people who were born in Mexico. They don't have any more control over that than, say, having their ancestors born in a different place. But for practical reasons, nationalists will argue, yeah, it's fair to, even though it goes against moral principles, for practical reasons. Say, imagine if we had one nation with one fucking constitution. Everybody, like the world was one nation. Democracy doesn't work as well on these super large scales. So like, and also if there was a dictatorship like Hitler, for example, if our nation became a dictatorship, there wouldn't be any other nations around it to bounce it out, say, hey, no, we're against that, and go to war against it because we'd be one huge nation. So checks and balances from country to country would perish. But I think definitely, as much as that is the argument from nationalists against that would apply to state by state, as much as country to country we concentrate on our own citizens. I think things like trans rights, it's like, yeah, I don't believe that depending on whether you were born in a state or another state, you should get to, like, have your human rights be. So I think this is another thing, just like Tucker Carlson will point out. Um, Nationalism is a great argument against immigration, and I think this is the same thing for that. Where I think this just goes against it. Just like we shouldn't say, oh well, these people in Mexico, well they were born in Mexico, therefore if the drug cartels choose to murder them, well because they were born in Mexico instead of here, we just won't protect them. I think it's the same thing where these practical versus moral arguments just collide, and we just have to make the better of one over the other. And I think the moral argument in both cases is not only for immigrant rights but for trans rights. And I think, yeah, Joe Biden should definitely do something about this. If anything, now he should bank the call and say, "Hey, you haven't been doing anything. How about now? Are you planning to go and override this? Are you going to make sure, hey, this is a clear violation of human rights? As an adult, you have the right to this. This is a huge violation of free speech. there's a violation of the First Amendment. Our First Amendment. Y'all mostly a Republican court, right? Which y'all shouldn't be. Y'all should be neutral court, because courts are supposed to be neutral. Secular Talk made an argument against that. I disagree with it. I can see where he's coming from, but y'all are supposed to not be affiliated with a political party. Y'all are supposed to just interpret the Constitution in a neutral way, which, like, the Constitution was written by our founding fathers, who necessarily even subconsciously had a bias for their own thing, so the Constitution might not still represent us. That's why we can edit it, say with the 13th Amendment and so on. But yeah, why doesn't Joe Biden step up and say, no, look at what y'all have been doing with free college, y'all. Like, even though this was necessarily a moral argument, what the argument you provided against me providing free college, which I'm demonstrably against free college tuition. I'm definitely against free relieving of debt, no matter how popular that argument may be. I'm definitely against that. Even though I definitely do agree that it would serve the middle class, and the only people this policy would hurt would be big corporations. I will side with corporations because I'm a capitalist here. It will side with human rights, but either way, like, whatever I was talking about, yeah, I think I'm right in whatever I was saying, and I think the humanist report is wrong. But I definitely get his argument. And yeah, again, I was on this thing with moral versus practical hits, and I think in here the humanist report is definitely right in the way that Joe Biden should definitely practice Supreme Court. He should have done it before. Now he should definitely do it. Say, you know what? We're giving more. We're we're expanding the courts. I'm gonna elect some judges, and they're gonna make sure that their votes out voice yours, because your votes definitely, you don't speak for the average person in the USA today. You were elected by Donald Trump, who's very, very partisan. Well, you know what? Since I'm in the middle, I'm a corporate Democrat, which is a fucking buzzword that is meant to really say, I'm for the status quo. I'm for everybody, right? I think Joe Biden should just back the courts and say, well, you know what? Just for this, we're overturning whatever the fuck you might be triggered about. We're expanding the courts and we're making sure this doesn't pass, because the First Amendment needs to be protected overall. I will definitely, like, yeah, I'll definitely side with Tucker Carlson on this. I don't care if liberals get offended. I will side on Tucker Carlson and say the First Amendment is what we need to protect over anything. And in here, I think, like, the liberals would actually side with me on this, because I'm quoting Tucker Carlson to say, yeah, Joe Biden should pass the courts, and say, I'm appointing new judges just to make sure that people from 21 to 26 don't have their First Amendment rights taken down, because yeah, it's a very good argument. How the fuck do I still have freaking current views? I don't know. Either way, I'm glad about that, and I hope I should soon.
The country.
The country. Dude, I've been just doing a dialogue instead of reacting, which is sort of my job, so I haven't been doing my job, and I should do that.
It's getting
Anyway, my job is to shut the fuck up. Normally it's not to... Normally it's to keep speaking, but in this case, Dude, I'm speaking to you.
horrifying. That's kind of the takeaway. Like, I just want you to understand it's getting horrifying to where trans people have to flee states, if not the country, in the near future because of where this is going. So if you actually care, it's not even about, like, if you care about trans people specifically. If you're a decent human being and you think that we actually should be free in the United States of America, have the freedom to live our lives as we see fit, now is the time to speak.
So yeah, you transitioning doesn't violate any other laws. So yeah, it absolutely would be protected under the First Amendment. So just wanted to clarify on this. He's absolutely
Up
right
just to see
there.
the ways in which this
He's not necessarily right in anything else he says, but here he's definitely right.
party is making this entire
Are
community
my
public
eyes
enemy
red?
number one. If you don't
Oh
speak
no,
up
we never
now,
all smoked
you are
all.
complicit. Now is the time to be as loud as
I disagree with that. If you what did he just say? If you're being silent, you're complicit. I definitely agree. If you're being silent and you agree with what he's saying and you're being silent, you are no, yeah, if you're a part of the lawmaking process, that you absolutely are complicit. Now, like, I disagree that if you don't vote, imagine if you were living in Nazi Germany and you didn't vote in the election that was Hitler versus whoever his political opponent was. I don't think you're responsible for the Holocaust or anything, so I would logically have to disagree with him on that. Like, I think if you were a citizen in Germany and you didn't vote in favor of Hitler, um, you wouldn't be responsible for the Holocaust. And I know, again, Holocaust reference, I do those not because I'm trying to, like, compare the Holocaust to any of that. That's why people do that. It's just to point out, like, an extreme version of the opposite side's argument and try to make a contrast, to try to make an argument that actually in this specific instance is very similar. So yeah, you could make that comparison since everybody agrees with the Holocaust for practical purposes, just better. Yeah, I think this thing of, oh, you're comparing to the Holocaust, so definitely you're just, by definition of that, just, you're not a serious person, you shouldn't be taken seriously. I think that's really just virtue signaling. I wish we could take away that fucking narrative, but either way, I'm drunk. I'm gonna shut up. We'll be back. I don't. Trans rights or civil rights are human rights. Civil rights were for black people. I mean, the whole premise behind trans rights is that men and women are fundamentally different. Was black and white people weren't fundamentally different, so I disagree with that. This guy looks a lot like DP Games, like my best fucking friend. That's hilarious. Um, but I definitely agree. Trans rights are human rights. Let's just blur out that part because that has nothing to do with one another. But I mean, civil rights. I don't know what the word civil means. I just know that civil, like in the word of civil conversation. Maybe they have a right. Maybe they have a point I'm missing. Love is amongst us. That would be gay rights songs. Who happened? Who right to breathe? Trans people belong. Yeah, of course they do. Equality for no more, no less. Equality, and I saw a clip from Jordan Klepper. That doesn't mean a lot, so I'll just shut the fuck up. But like him interviewing a Trump supporter saying, "Hey, so yeah, the LGBT, like the gays, they're asking for too much," and the lady said, "Yeah, they are." And he was like, "So they're asking for equal," and she was like, "Yeah, equal's too much." I feel like that might represent a lot of people. She's one of both. Okay, so we have one PewDiePie supporter. Is that a not? Why is PewDiePie's fan base in the middle of these? Did PewDiePie fucking organize this? Dude, I'm way too fucking drunk. I need to shut up. This is Libs of TikTok's fucking profile. Dude, I just said two things that were really stupid. No, Libs of TikTok just has the trans fucking identity on it, and with addition of some transphobic things added to it, and the brofist, I don't know. Either way, I said two stupid things. Need to shut up, and no more comments. Whatever. I might take some more of this hallucinogen thing.
now is the time.
Let me make sure my webcam is fine. Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
to be as loud as you possibly can, because this cannot stand. This is getting frightening, and we keep seeing these bills, increasingly draconian, be proposed. But how soon until one of these bills get passed? I don't think that this can stand because it's brazenly unconstitutional. But when you have so many Republican judges appointed by Donald Trump, I mean, who knows? This could pass. It could get upheld, perhaps struck down by a federal court. But if it
Yeah, the Supreme Court definitely is very strong. Has a lot of say over like the laws in the government, and they definitely has a lot of power over this. So yeah, wait, what did he say? I forgot what I was trying to say.
unconstitutional, but when you
It
have
definitely
so
is
many
against First Amendment
Republican
rights,
judges appointed by
as
Donald
you
Trump,
said.
I mean,
Yeah, the Supreme Court is definitely the biggest threat that this whole topic poses.
who knows? This
I
could
agree with that.
pass. It could get upheld, perhaps struck down by a federal court. But if it makes its way to the Supreme Court,
I really
that's
hope.
where
I really hope it gets struck. I really hope it doesn't get taken up to the Supreme Court. Like, please don't let this be. Please, just for fuck's sake, don't let this be taken up to the Supreme Court. Don't let fucking Clarence Thomas be the judge of this.
I think that we don't have much of a shot. So
hell.
we have to stop it from getting to that point. And if you see a bill like this pop up in your state, you have to take action. Call your legislators, call your state representatives, because this cannot
I
stand.
will definitely do that. If I see any of this ever coming to Louisiana, please let me know if this ever comes to Louisiana. I might email him about this.
This is horrifying, and I want people to understand what's at stake here and how this is the Republican.
Does he have an email?
Are you driving way less than you used to? Do you have a clean driving record? Are you over?
Let's see. Okay, so he doesn't have an email. Okay, yeah. Again, just I don't know what the fuck is like going to show up here. I'm just gonna let me see. Email. Yeah, I always went to my fucking college professors, so Okay, let me just get all this back. Jesus Christ. Alright. Everything should be back, so yeah, I'm giving him... I just saw your video and I am watching it live, so I'm reacting to it. Send this email, please make a tweet video. This ever extends all the states, mention which states they are in your video, and I will make sure to spread the word to anyone else. The representatives, like, so. Okay, so he probably won't see that, but either way, let's finish watching this.
Republican Party taking transphobia to its logical conclusion, which is effectively a genocide against them.
I mean, that is pretty fair. That is pretty true. Can't really disagree with that. Anyway, let's watch Tucker Carlson.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Happy Monday. It's funny how huge history-altering events can take place in this country and around the world, and most people seem to have no idea they happened. It's not that Americans are stupid, it's that our media outlets, often under direct pressure from the U.S. government, suppress those stories, the stories that matter. The effect of this arrangement, and by the way, it's the intended effect, is to leave the population of the United States dangerously...
Yeah, since CNN, you can't really dispute that. Like, people who believe that, like, what do you say to them? Like, you saw what happened with CNN. They just wanted to clickbait cancer over facts when it turned out to be in their best interest, when they found out that clickbaiting with Donald Trump worked out better than being honest and having some fucking integrity. So yeah,
ignorant on questions that affect their lives. At this point, you have to wonder if the average, say, New Yorker is really better informed than a factory worker in Pyongyang, North Korea. Probably not. Both have been effectively blindfolded by information monopolies. And if you doubt that's true, ask your neighbors who's winning the war in Ukraine. And of course, they'll tell you that Ukraine is winning.
Yeah, everybody around me, everybody who leans more Democrat is saying that. Everyone who leans more Republican. My mother actually, she's the only person who, actually she's a socialist. She's the only left-leaning person I know who, like, I've told her, especially since she leans left, I've told her, you've heard how much Putin is losing and stuff? Because I've heard even Vegan Games, who's more right-leaning, who tends to have the same opinions as me when it comes to, like, left-wing stuff. Like, yeah, he says Russia's losing so badly, but then my mother told me, no, actually, that's fucking retarded. Russia is winning by a lot, so I don't know. I'll definitely take Tucker's take on this. That's a very important take.
Pyongyang, North Korea. Probably not.
So how is
Both have been
Russia
effectively blindfolded by information monopolies. And if you doubt that's true, ask your neighbors who's winning the war in Ukraine. And of course, they'll tell you that Ukraine is winning. Duh. That's what they've seen on the Today Show every morning for the past 11 months. And not just on the Today Show, but on virtually every media outlet in America, apart from Colonel Doug McGregor's appearances on this show, for which he has, needless to say, been condemned as an agent of Putin. But he's pretty much alone.
I hate that shit. Just, oh, whatever you say that didn't fill with the status quo, it's Russian disinformation. Yeah, that's, like, again, Tucker Carlson's the only one who speaks out on this, but yeah, as long as you keep saying disinformation, Russia disinformation about anything, as long as people keep seeing there's only fucking Tucker Carlson, the fucking guy who will stand, like, not be afraid to speak out for stuff like that, who will actually mention things like these, who will bring this up, yeah, people will be skeptical. People will be like, why is only Tucker Carlson mentioning this? Why are the other people I follow not mentioning this? Is it that we have two cookie cutter opinions? Maybe why is it that every time I say like, oh, Kanye, the type of shit that is not really affecting the average citizen. Why would every news out? Well, you know what? Oh, the Humanist Report just came out with a video about the new stupid thing Kanye did. 25 minutes ago. Oh, well, 2 minutes ago. And then you'll watch, like, oh, 4 hours ago now, the Humanist Report released this video. 3 hours ago, Secular Talk released about the same videos, about same title, same thumbnail, more or less. Who else? The Rational National, the Majority Report, Sam Seru. He probably did that. TYT. Who else? Like, they all will have about the same, and it's like, yeah, when it comes to that, the left will tend to talk about the same topics, and then the right, like, you tune into Tucker Carlson, and you see, oh, well, he's talking about all these things that these left-wing people aren't talking about, ever, and then you tune into Gutfeld, and he's spewing about the same talking points, and it's like, yeah, it's just two news outlets who are either going for, well, one is a news outlet, one are independent reporters who actually report on YouTube. They are not pressured by any fucking news outlet, but that shows how much Democratic Party versus Republican Party. The Humanist Reporter, as much as he's an independent, he stresses on that. He will say that I saw a video of him literally saying bipartisan, as much as I hate a bipartisan legislature, I think it's fundamental to our way of governing. And I know Tucker Carlson is definitely bipartisan because he's only for the Republican Party. So, I mean, he's definitely full-fledged Republican. So, the only thing he'd be for would be Republican. So, he definitely believe in at least one of two cookie-cutter opinions existing in the United States. So, and the thing is, I'm against bipartisanship. I think it's just two cookie cutter opinions being enforced on people, and I think these two cookie cutter opinions tend to be just brought even further down to just one cookie cutter opinion, and the other being, I disagree with your cookie cutter opinion, whatever it fucking says. I'll just take the con side of any argument you have because I have to disagree with it because I'm the opposing party, right? So it's, but even lower to just a one fucking cookie cutter opinion and the disagreement with that cookie cutter opinion, which is the second cookie cutter opinion. Um, and yeah, I don't think that's a good way to go. I get the whole bipartisan thing, but either way, let me go back a bit.
And of course, they'll tell you that Ukraine is winning. Duh. That's what they've seen on the Today Show every morning for the past 11 months. And not just on the Today Show, but on virtually every media outlet in America, apart from Colonel Doug McGregor's appearances on this show, for which he has, needless to say, been condemned as an agent of Putin. But he's pretty much alone.
If you're far right wing, you'll be condemned as like this fascist, racist, fucking Putinist or whatever. And if you're far left wing, but thing is, any movement that becomes big enough for it to get on the political scale, say veganism, which has nothing to do with partisanship. That's a partisan. That's just separate from partisanship. Like that's I've heard recently that's associated to the far left wing, and it's like it's not a left wing take at all. It's just it's got nothing to do with left wing versus right wing. It's not affiliated with any of these beliefs. It's like a lot of these takes. It's like yeah, you shouldn't take a partisan approach to them. You should just think based on your own fucking experiences and what. Dude, I've drunk so much. I honestly need to go use the fucking bathroom again, but I will be back. Trust me, I have some more prescription medication. I might take more of that. And I might take some more of the hallucinogens too. Hello. Yeah, back. Went to the bathroom, washed my hands. Dude, like, bro, I remember at some point, I remember watching Vegan Games. And he just said, bro, I need to go for a shit. And we could hear him, like, legit for minutes straight. Just, it was so fucking loud. It's like he had the bathroom right next to his mind. Dude, I wonder if I shouldn't just, like, start making more fucking vegan games. Fucking, I don't know, the 2 a.m. vegan just takes clips of vegan games. And he's so sick. And if you watch vegan games' live streams, honestly, it's so fucking golden. There are so many golden takes. If you make a fucking channel based on the best takes you can find off of his channel, and you're not retarded, like, you could get so fucking far that I don't know if I should start going there. Dude, either way, like, but I was just thinking, like, when I come back, should I take more of this hallucinogenic substance? Like, I'm not hallucinating yet. But, like, I don't know, like, I heard it could take a long time, and I remember, dude, the first bad trip I had, the only one, in fact, the first time I smoked weed, I remember, I was, like, 14, I had never smoked weed. In fact, I didn't start smoking weed at all until I actually graduated from high school. The second time I smoked weed, in fact, was with a coworker at McDonald's, which was after I graduated high school. But the first time I was actually 14, I remember that. I was still living in Willow Gardens, which was my old apartment complex, and yeah, like, I was just at the pool with some people, like some new people that had just moved in, some college students, a bunch of them, and they actually lived in the old apartment complex I had. So yeah, I had used to live, since I was 6. I had moved into Louisiana when I was 6, and I had moved into that apartment complex, and I was in apartment 36, which I was there. I lived there until like 12 or 13. Yeah, 12. I had a, like, I went to vacation in Mexico because my mother loved to travel. Every vacation, every summer vacation, we travel. This time we traveled to Mexico, and over the summer vacation when I was like 12, like, we actually got in a car wreck in Mexico, and my parents had to, my family members, my grandparents had to take my mother back from France, and had to, like, my grandmother and my aunt had to actually travel back to Mexico um to to fucking bring my mother and me back to France. But yeah, when I had an accident in Mexico, I don't talk about this often. I've never talked about this actually, but this was a huge story. Like, I had an accident in Mexico. My mother was in the coma. I had the fucking reason to take my passport. So I thought she was dead, in fact. I'm really going on a tangent, but yeah, I was 12, 13, like 12 actually. We were just going on a vacation in Mexico because we usually went out of state during the summer vacation. We like just travel for the whole like at least 1 month, either to France or to different states that it, like, one or the other, to national parks. And this time we went to Mexico, and there was a drunk driver. He was driving a bus, and that day we went to a really good hotel, and the next day we were just in the middle of the suburbs, in the middle of nowhere. A bus driver who was really fucking intoxicated, he was driving on the wrong side of, on the wrong lane, and he hit us, like, front head, and he was driving on the wrong side of the lane. We hit him in an intersection, and yeah, we had a collision. I was playing Minecraft at the time. I was actually making an adventure map. I was seeing, like, Preston Plays and all popular MMOs playing on adventure maps. I was really into parkour. And I was making a parkour fucking adventure map on my laptop that I had just bought for $300. I had saved up from every time that my birthday had hit and people would send me money because I used to not buy anything at the time. I'd saved up, I'd bought this laptop, and I was just, like, yeah, playing on it, and, let me take another one of my prescription pills. And yeah, like, that the bus just, fucking hit us. He was driving in the wrong lane. Now, Mexico being Mexico, you know, it's way more fucking oligarchy, way more like, yeah, you could influence anything with just having more money. Apparently, that bus driver, he had the Mexican cartels who were like, who supported him. So, yeah, he actually influenced the fucking, the reports to say that my mother was under the influence of drugs. Now, I know my mother. If I even smoke weed, she has a problem with me. She threatened to kick me out if I ever smoked weed. Thank fuck. From that accident, she doesn't have a sense of smell. And, like, I can smoke weed. I didn't smoke weed before then. Like, yeah, she can't smell weed. So now that I'm just full-fledged into smoking weed, like, she can't really notice that well. But, yeah, like, there was an accident. Like, at first I thought she was dead. It hit her. The bus hit mostly the left side. I was fine other than a few scratches, but my mother was in the coma. I looked, like, I was just playing Minecraft. I didn't even see the impact, and, I saw my computer explode. I saw the airbags flow out, and I looked on the left and I saw my mother, and she just had a huge fucking gap in her skull, and I saw her drenched in blood, and I yelled to her, and she wouldn't answer. She was just, well, in the coma. And, well, instinctively, I just started yelling to her again, and while she wouldn't answer, I took out my passports from the, like, glove pocket, glove compartment, whatever you call it. I went outside and I just yelled, like, ayuda, because I knew that was the word for help in Spanish. Like, soon enough, after, like, less than 5 minutes, another car called, and they called an ambulance, and I didn't call the passports until, like, after the ambulance came. And, yeah, within 5 minutes, I called this guy. He comforted me, like, he told me, yeah, and after, like, 5 minutes, the ambulance came, which was surprising. And, once the ambulance came, I just remembered, oh, I should take out my passports. We're from a foreign country. You know, just like you're told, just like you're taught, especially if you live in the United States, your parents tell you at an early age, if the cops arrest you, put your hands on the wheel, keep them at 90 degrees. Don't go reach for your papers. I know the cops will ask you that, but don't go reach for them until the cops tell you to. Like, you put your hands on the wheel, you don't move, you just keep your head, just looking forward. You wait for them to, like, open your door or something, or to, like, you roll down the window, yeah, and then when they tell you to get your identity papers, you reach out for it, and, you pull out whatever you need to pull out. Same thing with that, like, with, what am I talking about? Like, with that, I knew since I was in a foreign country, even though I was 12, I knew I needed my passport, so I pulled those out, and within, like, 10 minutes, the ambulance came, and they told me, yeah, your mother's actually gonna be fine. They actually also told me at first that my car might be fine, even though it was wrecked, but, yeah, when they said, yeah, your mother's alive, your mother's definitely alive, like, I believe them, and from there, like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's a thing of autism. I have so many mental disabilities, but, like, yeah, they told me your mother's fine, and I believed them, and it turned out my mother was fine. I saw her within, like, an hour when they transported us in the ambulance. Like, they hooked her on things, and I knew if they hooked her on things, like, she had to be fine, and I saw her speak within, like, 5 minutes of the ambulance coming, so I knew she was fine. So, yeah, like, in Mexico, the drug cartels, they influence this afterwards to say, oh, well, it was my mother's fault. even though they found, like, at some point, I remember they told, oh yeah, the guy was drunk, that's why, the police reports, as they showed me, showed that, this guy was, in fact, driving on the wrong side of the road. He was, driving on the left lane instead of the right lane, that's why he had us in an intersection. He was driving too fast for a second, and I knew my mother, I knew she wasn't under the influence of drugs, and, Mexico still influenced the legal system. So, yeah, the legal system in Mexico is fucked up. Like, it's fucked up.
Here's the version that most Americans. It's true. Ask your neighbors who's winning the war in Ukraine. And of course, they'll tell you that Ukraine is winning. Duh.
Why did I go on such a tangent? This has nothing to do with the video. I have 4 views, 3 or 4. 4 likes. Yeah. You're so fucking welcome, dude. I'm so drunk. Yeah, I should take more hallucinogens. I might do that later on, once my stomach's filled.
So they've seen on the Today Show every morning for the past 11 months. And not just on the Today Show, but on virtually every media outlet in America, apart from...
Should I really want to say the N-word just because I'm fucking high and drunk? I'm trying not to, dude. This is gonna be so hard, but this is one of these things. It's sort of like
Colonel Doug
taking good habits. Like, if you start off wrong, if you start, like, you're just going, if you do it just 1 time, you'll do it 2 times, okay? And I know it, like, if I start saying that and I get popular, I will instantly get cancelled. And any, like, productive opinions I might have, they'll just fucking, like, they'll just get swept under the rug. So I'll try not to be like Vegan Gains, just have a positive message and fucking embody it in, fucking babies, I want to stomp their fucking head in. Like, even though, fuck yeah, dude, babies annoy the shit out of me. I wouldn't fucking say that, because then if people take me out of context, so, yeah, I'll try not, like, fucking, giving people ammunition to fucking shut me down in case my message ever has an opportunity. I'm not gonna, like, beforehand give it a shutdown. If that even made sense. Either way, none makes sense. That's why I should drink more shit.
McGregor's appearances on this show, for which he has, needless to say, been condemned as an agent of Putin. But he's pretty much alone. Here's the version that most Americans see.
If you have any fucking opinion that that would align with left-wing or right-wing, and you're mainstream enough for anyone to fucking give their takes on it, yeah, it'll either be, yeah, I actually disagree with your fucking view because I agree with the other party's view, because I have the cookie-cutter opinion that tells me that you're fucking wrong, LMAO, and, well, here's the fucking data that I found, or didn't fucking find. Like, in case this issue is, like, fucking prevalent enough for people to have bothered making data on it yet, like, in favor of either fucking side. It's not too hard to just, fucking, manipulate data to be in your favor and publish a report. Like, what the fuck was I saying?
This show, for which he has, needless to say, been condemned as an agent of Putin.
Like, yeah, just get any fucking opinion, and if it goes to a partisan level, whichever party your opinion fucking goes against, they'll just fucking say, oh yeah, you're a propagandist because of that. They'll just say, oh, your research... Like, I could even argue that some people, they might make research that is flawed. Like, some people might have, for example, made research based on, well, what is your LDL cholesterol? Let's just make a research based on your cholesterol levels, and let's compare them to your cholesterol intake. And when people didn't know that this was a a logarithmic fucking equation that, like, if your cholesterol levels were high enough, your input in LDL cholesterol, your input in cholesterol and saturated fats wouldn't actually fucking, like, raise your, like, overall cholesterol levels anymore. And, yeah, the higher your cholesterol levels were, the, like, the higher your serum cholesterol levels were, the less an additional input in fucking cholesterol or saturated fats would make a difference. Like, I don't think these researchers who first made these were fucking biased or were propagandists. So, yeah, I just think we should take people more at their word, especially fucking news media outlets who are opinion pieces. They won't hire opinion pieces, especially as actors, as people say Fox News is. They won't hire people who just, like, are good at acting skills. No, their first instinct would be to hire people who believe in what they say, because believing in a political ideology is more common than um, falling for the career of fucking acting. And there are more people who would have inherent talents in acting, such as, well, sincerity. That's one thing that definitely works in favor of you. If you genuinely believe what you are saying, your script will be more fucking, it will pass more naturally for you to follow that script if you believe in it. And it'll be less hard for you to sound convincing, but, yeah, like, it's just more convenient to hire, if you want to hire propagandists for political ideology that is already mainstream enough for you to be able to find people with that, it's just more convenient for you to hire people who already agree with this ideology, because you'll just find more people who believe in this ideology than, say, you would find actors who would suit the role, because they have to commentate on everything, and giving their honest opinion tends to have more fucking shit than you can make up on the spot and make a script for. Having someone who will always have an opinion that will align with what you're trying to push, and giving them fucking data from Fox News that will align with that opinion, that's just more efficient. If you're gonna assume that Fox News is just trying to make propaganda, trying to push info that is propagandist info, and trying to have hosts that will push this propagandist info, like, the fucking strategy that would work best for them would be to hire the hosts that would fill Tucker Carlson, for example's positions, to hire these people as people who actually believe in their ideology. So yeah, if they chose someone like Tucker, if they tried to go for someone who isn't actually genuine in what they think, who will just say these partisan fucking talking points just because it's in their own personal interest. If you hire someone like Tucker Carlson to have Tucker Carlson's role, and Tucker Carlson doesn't actually fundamentally believe in the rights of these people he's fucking like spouting for, these people he's vouching for, the average middle class, if he doesn't actually support these people on a moral basis, uh, it will be detrimental to his performance and how many people he can reach. It'll be detrimental to his fucking reach over how persuasive he can be, because people can't just have a script. He delivers like, what, 5 to 6 minute videos, sometimes twice a day at some point. He can't just memorize these so fast. Like, you can't just pick people who are so good, like Tucker Carlson are, who also have such good qualities. There aren't that many people to hire. So yeah, it's only logical to assume that people like Tucker Carlson should we should expect them to actually believe in what they're saying, believe in what they're pushing, and maybe be influenced by Fox News's propagandist fucking sources that are like what they're fucking given. There's a reason why Tucker Carlson and Gutfeld might push the same talking points. They're given the same info to base themselves off of, and they're like, this is my employer giving me this. So, yeah, I think it's unreasonable to say, oh, yeah, you are like, I know the Humanist Report, he'll address his audience, and especially when he criticizes Tucker Carlson, sometimes he'll have to say, by the way, I get that, like, you as an audience member, I might be addressing an audience that includes people who say might be Tucker Carlson diehard fans, and if I'm trying to talk to you, especially now that I have a winning argument, let me include this in case you're a diehard fan. Such and such is true, which might make you want to reconsider your position. Well, he will agree. People like the Humanist Report, even Sam Setter, who's very toxic, will agree that people can be indoctrinated into believing what Tucker Carlson may think, but inherently be good people in terms of supporting human rights, such as trans rights, say they weren't indoctrinated into these extremist beliefs. Well, by your standards, wouldn't it make sense to say that, especially Fox pundits who like would be selected for having these right-wing beliefs, as like one of these best things that would make you like that would under Darwinism fucking selectively make you more apt to being good at spreading right-wing talking points would be believing in those talking points. Apparently he was raised conservative, and he even used to have positions such as being pro-life, being against the death penalty, which is actually, apparently he used to be pro-life, which is a left-wing position, and he used to be against the death penalty, which is a fucking left-wing position, and he changed his position on both of these. He's now, I mean, he used to be for the death penalty, now he's against it, so he went from a right-wing position to a left-wing position, and on abortion he went from a left-wing to a right-wing position. It's like, people can fucking change, and especially choosing people like this who've definitely given some critical thinking to their ideology, taking people like this who it would just logically follow would know better how to criticize things, would be more fucking would have already challenged their philosophy more and have more ammunition, have more experience on the topic. Yeah, you'd want to hire these types of people more because they'd be more effective for the movement. So, yeah, saying Tucker Carlson is a propagandist just because, well, you're given a fucking face to throw Rotten Tomatoes at. Who else are you gonna throw Rotten Tomatoes at? Let's just blame him for everything. Yeah, it's sort of like, and Tucker Carlson is right about all this. Like, to this, he would respond, no, don't burn the Bastille. I remember when I was in France, my mother told me to read like some book which explained the Bastille from like all that stuff from uh fictional like a Bastille supporter point of view, where like they just like sexually assaulted and murdered a bunch of these people who might have been innocent but just were associated with this monarchy that they thought were poison, and they just went all in. They went as the hate wagon effect, and they went full one-sided. Anything that might lead to some other side is just poison. We're just not even gonna give that the benefit of the doubt. We're not even gonna entertain any of these ideas. It just led to more and more radicalism. Like, Tucker Carlson is right. Don't burn the Bastille. Don't just go out and vote. Don't get more radical. And either way, let me continue watching.
But
and also, let me watch my comments when I'm on this. And also, before I do that, let me see. Do I still have fucking this? Yeah, I do. Oh, yeah, dude. Wait, let me get something real quick. But I can barely walk. I'm so dumb. Dude, fuck me. What in the hell? Where did this thing go? Oh, dude, it's been on the table this whole fucking time. I just noticed that. Either way, I have 4 views and I also have 1 view. I'm not sure what to think of that anyway. Dude, I have some more comments, so let's fucking go. E. Okay, exotic. Hey, Reacts, I have some bad news to tell you. I've just been announced that you will be deployed by the Ukrainian armed forces to help fight against the Russian army. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to be a soldier. That's why I think being drafted should be like, drafts are absolutely against human rights. Are you vegan? Yeah. But I don't think anyone should have the moral obligation to be vegan. Obviously, and also, again, for health issues. I have bad fucking health issues, and honestly, I don't even know what my mental disorders are. Like, yeah, I'm just trying to have the best health outcomes to try to stop being fucking insane, stop being a degenerate. Like, there are a lot of things that are wrong with my mind. Obviously, I smoke weed all the time. Try to escape my problem. And, like, typically, I don't know what's gotten me to that level. There's a bunch of sleep deprivation, but, like, dude, I'm obviously something's fucking wrong with me, and I don't know exactly what it is. It's probably a bunch of things. I'm trying to get everything in my favor, and definitely having the best fucking diet for my health. Trying to get adequate sleep. Anything that could go in my health's favor, I'll go for it. Either way. As much as I'll be smoking weed and shit, like, dude, I have fucking mental issues anyway.
pretty much alone. Here's the version that most Americans see. America, monopolies. And if you doubt that's true, ask your neighbors who's this arrangement. And by the way, it's the intended effect.
Okay, let me just
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Happy Monday. It's funny how huge history-altering events can
Dude, I need to learn to shut up and not, like, give such a long dialogue.
take place in this country and around the world. And most people seem to have no idea they happened. It's not that Americans are stupid.
Should I take more hallucinogens?
It's that our media outlets, often under direct pressure from the U.S. government, suppress
I don't know about under direct pressure. Like, he's just assuming.
those stories, the stories that matter.
Like, he probably read sources from Fox News, which, like, why would he question? It's from his employer. Like, I get why he would like, not question that, but yeah, I don't know.
The effect of this arrangement, and by the way, it's the intended effect, and most people seem to have no idea they happened. It's not that Americans are stupid, it's that our media outlets, often under direct...
If I get 4 comments telling me to take this shot from at least 3 different people,
pressure from the U.S. government suppress those stories, the stories that matter. The effect...
And that is definitely a big criticism. The left wing tends to be against free speech, and they will tend to be against free speech on things that it would make sense. They'll tend to go from, oh, well, you shouldn't be, like, it would make sense to have a penalty against yelling fire in an open crowd when there is no fire that causes chaos and is for no reason. You're just creating chaos. There is nothing else to see here than you creating chaos based on something that didn't happen. That's like clear misinformation. You're spreading the message there was fire when the truth is there is no fire. And that's basically the argument for against yelling fire in an open crowd. You're yelling a piece of information that people must take seriously, that people can't just think, oh, well, you're just a propagandist. You're, like, if you do that, people can't judge you by anything other than your words. They have to act immediately. They know that it's a call to immediate action. And that can cause chaos. But like that analogy, it shouldn't be surprising that this is the analogy that's used every time in favor of free speech. I mean, when anybody tries to say, oh, well, there are exemptions to free speech, because this is really one of the only exemptions to free speech you can find, because free speech obviously is a huge term. It has broad fucking implications, and of course you could find anything that gives you such a broad right where so many things could be done with it, where like there are obviously going to be circumstances where such rights can be used to fucking take other people's rights away. There are obviously when a right that is so broadly defined as free speech exists, the concept of live and let live and such a right might come into collusion. But yeah, what, dude, I really should stop giving these huge dialogues. But yeah, I think when people censor misinformers, I think what they should do is just debunk them. Explain why this is disinformation, because when you're instead censoring them, you're giving them the free talking point. Of course, especially if they know it's disinformation, they'll, especially when the government also has a tendency to censor misinformation, they openly say they will do so. Yeah, then you know beforehand, yeah, if I'm trying to post and like promote misinformation, if I know it's misinformation, the government should just let me know that such things I should expect for it to get taken down, so that literally gives them the free talking point that they should expect to have in advance and get to make their plans off of, hey, if I'm such a joke, if I'm so not fucking serious, I'm a retarded dude just spreading this insane shit that's obviously not factual. In fact, if you have the fucking authority, if you have the fucking influence to be able to censor, if you have the influence to be able to censor what I'm saying here, this speech, and obviously you would only do that if I was, if this stuff came under your radar, saying that I'm already, this is already reaching people. Like, yeah, if you have this fucking influence to be able to censor such misinformation, you definitely, logically, you could assume you would also have the means to just debunk it and send, like, automatic responses to such things. debunking these theories in the best way that would appeal to the most people possible. And if your way to deal with misinformation, instead of just shutting it down with irrefutable refutals of the claims being made, is just, oh well, let's shut it down, when they could just archive that and have clear proof based on this that you censored them. If your answer is, well, let's shut it down, what do people assume based on that? Oh well, you're censoring these people. But if they're clowns as you say they are, as you describe, say, vaccine fucking misinformation pushers, or you see something that got taken down, you have proof it got taken down, and it's pushing some vaccine info that might be misinformation. Oh, why did this get shut down? Yeah, people will have to assume, especially now that CNN proved themselves to be a once trusted authority figure and now has no reputation. People will have to assume, oh well, if you're censoring them instead of debunking them when you have the means to debunk them, obviously since you have the means to censor them, what are you trying to hide? That's the obvious fucking takeaway from that. And yeah, I feel like maybe some, okay, you're just one person, I'm sorry. But like, you have so many people are fucking against that type of shit. Like, again, populism, it tends to be considered amongst the left wing as a bad thing, but let me just look up again. A political approach that tries to appeal to ordinary people shouldn't, like, ordinary people, they make up the majority of the population in any group. As long as you have the elite class, the 80-20 percentage, Vsauce made a video on that, that'll always apply. So wouldn't it just be logically consistent for you to assume that populism is the best approach to politics in a democracy, as long as the working class makes up a majority?
Arrangement, and by the way, it's the intended effect, is to leave the population of the United States dangerously ignorant on questions that affect their lives.
Just a second, let me take some more of this. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. I might need a bit more water. Let me just open up my water bottle real quick. Back to the side. Damn, bro. I know, I'm feeling sort of really fucked up already. I'm not sure if I want to get more drunk, to be honest. Back that up. Dude, I'm still 30 seconds. Damn, dude, maybe I wouldn't be good in governing. I don't get that far.
United States dangerously ignorant on questions that affect their lives. At this point, you have to wonder if the average, say, New Yorker is really better informed than a factory worker in Pyongyang, North Korea. Probably not. Both have been effectively blindfolded by information.
They get different informations, and Democrats used to argue when Trump was like, when Trump rose to scene, I immediately started Democrats start to argue that the information that would be, say, in favor of Trump would be targeting the poorer demographics of America, and that the information in favor of, say, Biden, which they would argue, the Democrats would argue, would be more highball and like, they would argue like Donald Trump would just say stupid things that would be pushed by stupid outlets that wouldn't reach that far, and Donald Trump's propaganda would appeal to only stupid people, while smart people's propaganda would be pushed to smart people who didn't make up the majority. Probably because they weren't as rich. Who fucking knows? And that stuff, yeah, not as many people exposed to it could understand it, so that's why. I don't know.
Monopolies. And if you doubt that's true, ask your neighbors who's winning the war in Ukraine. And of course, they'll tell you that Ukraine is winning. Duh. That's what they've seen on the Today Show every morning for the past 11 months. And not just on the Today Show, but on virtually every media outlet in America, apart from Colonel Doug McGregor's appearances on this show, for which he has, needless to say, been condemned as an agent of Putin. But he's pretty much alone. Here's the version that...
Yeah, he's the right one. What? He's a racist. He's a fascist. Yeah, that doesn't help
most Americans see.
The Ukrainians are on the offensive. They're winning this war right now.
Well, that was just last month. I think it's clear that Ukraine is winning, says defense contractor.
If we have Joe Biden's obviously a corporate Democrat. If we have the economic as well as moral incentives to support, to back Ukraine over Russia in this war, why wouldn't we give them the full support of our military to show them this support?
Tractor Barry McCaffrey.
It would honestly also support us in our fucking endeavor, in our future.
What sounds like hard-earned authority. Ukraine is winning, says Michael McFall of Stanford University. Ukraine is winning, says Hillary Clinton.
As much as I would morally say I am in favor of us right now, like, I'm in favor of the United States declaring war on Russia for what they're doing, because they're clearly trying to take over the world, and that's what Vladimir Putin's been trying to do. And either way, Ukrainian rights are human rights. We shouldn't let Putin do this. My mother always told me, like, I remember when I learned, at first when I was very little, I was under the age of 6. I remember I was only living in France. I don't think I was in school yet. I was probably like 3 to 4 years old. And like, my mother, who was a school teacher, was super into making sure I was educated, would tell me all about these past things that were horrendous that happened. Like, every history thing, my mother would explain that to me, and I was like, what? Like, that was so, that wasn't too long ago as you're explaining it. Like, what made us change so differently? What made us so different now? And she was like, yeah, well, nowadays, I remember that. This was like a short explanation. She was just trying to teach a little kid, trying to give a little kid an answer, because I was like really autistic back then, really ADHD, really had my disorders a lot worse than I have them now. So I would ask her all types of questions, and she would encourage me to ask questions, in fact. But yeah, any parent would have gone insane from this. And I would ask her, for example, how can we have been so fucking fundamentally different? How can we have been, like, dictatorship, all that shit, like, not too long ago? And, like, what if a nation decided for some reason, somehow, that they wanted to declare... And my mother was like, oh no, nowadays, like, we're changed, we're better off. We're no longer in that Hitler-type stage. Now democracy is taken over. Like, you see, when France is a democracy, the United States... that's a democracy. Like, all the countries who were thinking of going to, like Australia and New Zealand, which I really wanted to. Of course, my mother was going to choose America if we were ever going to go to a foreign country, because she had already been there. She actually had a job that she could have there if she ever wanted to go there, which is the job she currently has. But her explanation was, well, yeah, maybe like 60 years ago, yeah, we had such horrendous stuff as Hitler that like, maybe you intuitively think that doesn't make sense that we'd be so that like I was trying to tell her I don't really feel safe thinking that like 60 years ago Hitler and stuff could be a thing, and she was telling me like, look at people around you, everyone will now condemn Hitler, as you can see. Well, what falls from that is, well, nowadays things are different. Nowadays, if a country tries to invade another country, no, like every other country now, since it's developed, will now go against that place and say, no, you can't do that. Well, as much as that's been a thing that like I was a little kid and shit, like I've always sort of grown by this philosophy, like, no, you can't go to another country. I've heard what Putin did. Apparently, he nuked an elementary school. Hundreds of elementary school kids died. Russians took over a city in Ukraine. They raped a bunch of people. Apparently, they committed like they built trenches to be able to bury people who they killed. It's in some place where they killed Ukrainians. They buried them in these fucking things, just like they did in the Holocaust. Because they didn't have places, and all that news came up, and my mother was the only person I ever heard talking about this, but she only listens to, say, NPR, the New York, like places that are considered reputable sources within the liberal, say, thing. So my mother listens to sources that are like mainstream fucking media outlets on the left wing, and I will listen to, say, Fox News or the Daily Wire, and I will also listen to bounce that out the Humanist Report or Secular Talk, or sometimes even Sam Sedgwick, who I disagree with on everything, to be honest. But yeah, like people like if someone decides yeah, we're just gonna invade this country, they're already a pretty corrupt country. They just say, yeah, we're going to invade this country. They commit like genocides and atrocities in that country. Yeah, I think it's absolutely fair to say, no, we are not letting you do that. I don't care what means it we have to go by. I don't care if we have to assassinate Putin. What you've shown is that you're a dictator. You're trying to invade other countries. You have no right to do this. We're not gonna let you do this. Like, it doesn't matter what it takes. We're just not gonna let you do this. And I get that there's a... And that's why I think all nukes... Whatever it takes, we should get nukes out of here. Because we made progress way too fast. And that is really... that would definitely contribute to the what's it called? I saw on Kurzgesagt the doomsday argument. The fact that with science we developed so fast that at some point our development towards science over religion like unavoidably turns towards us noticing, hey, and maybe that could be a good argument in favor of doomsday, that like at some point, if a species is going to favor science over religion, which religion might be a fundamental thing to people's evolution from a species that revolves on its evolution throughout life, and it having to find some way to go about things from religion to science. Science brings about a lot of things, such as nuclear weapons, which can be used to kill people, and science can, when we're still not ready for the when we're still not ready to think about topics on a scientific scale, which is on a more intelligent scale, and think clearly about what we're doing here, and we have such hard type weapons such as nuclear weapons, yeah, we could make bad fucking decisions based on fucking God and stuff instead of science, and have science-based fucking technology in a world where religion is still prevalent because of how we want democracy to function, and the fact that these things don't die and we won't kill them because democracy just colludes with that. And it's like, dude, I'm taking some more of my prescription pills, but what was I saying? Fucking hell.
Actor Barry McCaffrey with what sounds like.
Yeah, I was on the topic of wars, but like, yeah, I definitely think we see Russia invading Ukraine. Is Russia more of a democracy than Ukraine? So I've mostly heard Tucker Carlson's viewpoint on this, and Tucker Carlson, what he will say is that Zelensky apparently imprisoned his political opponent. And I think that's a huge thing. I think people should talk about that. People who are defending Ukraine, when someone like Tucker Carlson talks about this, at least address it. I've never heard anyone like Secular Talk, the Humanist Report. Did he do that? Didn't he do that? Are you gonna fact check him? Is that true? Apparently, he also censored any media outlet that goes up against him. He made like you know, CNN, the New York Times, CNBC, everything that makes our what's it called, the mainstream media, he made that be one partisan in favor of him. Apparently he did that. No one on the left that I've seen, like the Humanist Report, some Secular Talk, the Rational National, like none of them have apparently debunked that. But yeah, I do agree that it would be irrelevant. Like, even if Zelensky was inherently a dictator, Russia invading Ukraine has like that is at the detriment of Ukrainian lives. And even if Zelensky was a dictator, which would mean that instead of relying on what his people want, instead of appeasing his people, he would appease himself or whatever this like small group that he's appealing to, maybe as donors, whatever they want him to do. Either way, the one Ukraine, it is affecting citizens, and whether or not Zelensky is a dictator, that doesn't change whether or not we would want to help its citizens. Maybe that could impact whether or not we want to give him directly the money. Yes, but like, yeah.
Like hard-earned authority. Ukraine is winning, says Michael McFall of Stanford University. Ukraine is winning, says Hillary Clinton. Ukraine is winning.
I honestly don't know who's winning, to what extent. I've heard different takes on this. I'm not educated. I'm a retard. As you know, I'm openly retarded. I don't have Down syndrome, but I am still an incel. I guess I don't have to look retarded to be repulsive to girls, but either way, whatever I was talking about this.
Playing the entire American media.
But yeah, yeah, what I was saying is I don't look at research, all that shit, I don't care. But yeah, I don't know, like, and that's the thing, when you can't trust like mainstream fucking information, like, oh, there are such and such media outlets that, like, if they say something, yeah, you can assume it's to be fact. Like, oh, if CNN says Putin is losing, then you can assume it to be fact, because there could be the Daily Wire saying the opposite, and then there'll be just two communities just shouting back and forth, and not even having a productive argument, just fucking talking past each other back and forth, just shouting talking points, just anything that, if any information is relevant coming from the other side, they'll just try to fucking avoid it, try to sidetrack it, because they know they have a diehard community that they must appeal to, number one. And yeah, you don't really know who to fucking trust because both sides will do this. Okay. Do I remember the vid you made? Oh yeah, probably about the N-word. That's probably what you said. CMC, blind MC. Cool, sure. They are cutting off the testes of the Ukrainian boys. I haven't heard anything about that as testicles. I've are you saying the Russians are doing that? They've done much worse. Yeah, you'll get all the girls. No, I absolutely don't know. I absolutely don't get girls. I'm autistic. I don't know. Girls tend to be I know you. By the way, like, I don't really tend to be around girls really a lot. Since I left school, like, yeah, I haven't really been around people. I tend to only be in my room. I tend to not really leave my room. And in school, I tended, like, especially when I was young, like, autism, all that shit, I had it so bad that I sort of realized, like, if I don't pretend to sort of just be so retarded that if I don't put on the class clown narrative over the autistic kid narrative, like, I'm gonna get fucking hated by everybody. So, yeah, like, since I was autistic and since I was ADHD, I tended to have my attention span just loosen up. And whenever I'd get bored, I just start fucking being goofy, acting like a spaz and all, and people would just laugh at it. And I'd like that. I tend to, since I'd fucking Asperger's, I was on the spectrum of autism. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them laughing at me and them, like, socially fucking accepting me. So, yeah, I'd just be like, oh, they're laughing at me. They must fucking like me all of a sudden. So I like, yeah, I just started doing that, and, like, I just keep fucking doing that. Like, I just get confused. Yeah, that's definitely bullshit. Like, yeah, I just fucking what the fuck? Yeah, I just pretend to be completely retarded, be a class clown. I just go by the narrative of spaz and class clown just to make sure that I wouldn't pass as this super autistic, super awkward guy. Just to save my reputation that way. Just to make sure I wouldn't be hated for being that autistic guy. I just went under the narrative, went under the perspective of, yeah, I'm just super stupid. If anybody fucking disagreed with me or started getting offended by anything I'd say, I just, but oh no, I'm retarded. Don't worry, I'm retarded. I don't know what I'm saying. So, know what I was saying with that. But anyway, let's just keep watching.
Establishment, and anyone who suggests otherwise must be working for Russia. That's what they've been telling you relentlessly because they want you to think we're on the winning team. And most Americans believe them because how could they?
Is rating a thing, like, on YouTube? Like, on other platforms?
They know otherwise. They don't have sources in Ukraine.
Dude, I'm so gone.
So you can imagine the shock that Washington Post readers
I might take more of the fucking hallucinations.
must have experienced this weekend when they read the op-ed by Robert Gates and Condoleezza Rice. Now, if you were trying to locate the two most thoroughly discredited figures in the American foreign policy establishment, you'd probably pick Bob Gates and Condi Rice, because few have done more to weaken this country. But again, most Americans don't know that.
Few have done more to weaken this country. Normally, you'd say that's Joe Biden.
Rice. Now, if you were trying to locate the two most thoroughly discredited figures...
Wait, did he talk about this before? Dude, I need to pay more attention to him when he's
in the American foreign.
If I'm gonna be serious about politics, I should, like, fucking try to pay better attention.
Foreign policy establishment, you'd probably pick Bob Gates and Condi Rice, because few have done more to weaken this country. But again, most Americans don't know that because the media would never say that, ever. Because Gates
if he's saying that, he's probably talked about it.
And Rice are paid-up members of the club. And Gates and Rice want you to know in their op-ed in the Post that Ukraine is losing badly. In fact, they write, unless the U.S. continues to prop up Ukraine's...
Either way, like, imagine, you could very well picture a scenario where whether or not we're winning or they're winning completely depends on whether or not we think this is a crisis. Whether or not we beat or die to climate change might depend on whether or not we take it seriously enough to agree that this is a huge crisis. As long as we think, oh, well, this isn't that huge of a concern, like, the efforts we put, the measures we take to actually what's it called, address that issue and take care of it might change depending on how seriously we take it. And definitely when people, especially when there are two sides that are fundamentally gonna disagree with each other no matter what. They were literally set up as two cookie cutter opinions, as a lazy fucking approach to just making sure that our country is set up to go forward. And maybe it wasn't that lazy of an approach. Maybe it was necessary back then. But like, two cookie cutter opinions that are set up to disagree with one another, and that has a fundamental fucking downside, which is going to be how inefficient. Like, I remember we had this fucking debate a lot, and I didn't consider it seriously. In political science, is a democracy versus a dictatorship more efficient in terms of governance? And I would say, well, obviously a dictatorship, but that's just not what we want. So I just didn't take the debate seriously, because a lot of the time, what in my political science class, like, I took gifted classes, so my class would be more rich, but I hated it because a lot of the time, how my political science teacher would direct the topic, like every morning, a lot of the mornings she'd have a topic, like we'd be learning about such and such, and our homework would be to learn about such topic versus such topic, and to look up facts, to try to bring up information to argue in favor of such or in favor of such. And we'd have homework to just make a fucking put on loose leaf paper, make an essay more or less in favor of such issue or in favor of the other issue, and then the next morning we'd debate it. We'd say, okay, well, there's two sides to this classroom, just whichever side you're on. If you're in favor of this, if you take the pro side to this argument, you go on this side of the classroom. If you're in favor of the, like, if you're like the opponents said that argument. Let me take another bit of that. Like, yeah, they just go to the other side of the room. But thing is, the teacher would insist that we only, like, the only arguments we could have, the only data we could have to be only factual, specifically factual. They have to be only based on facts. We can't even make a moral argument. We have to make only factual arguments based on facts. And the topics she would ask us to debate would be, should we allow more immigrants, illegal immigration? Should we allow more immigrants? And I'd argue these are mostly intrinsically moral issues. And you can't say, oh, well, let's just have a debate on that, but completely exclude the moral perspective. So, yeah, political science class, I didn't take it seriously at all, but that was an interesting topic. Like, the moral, the effectiveness of dictatorship versus democracy. Yeah, honestly, I think that is an argument that comes down to morals, because it argues against the moral principle of democracy is inherently more moral and dictatorship might be more practical, but sometimes you need more practical approaches to certain issues to have a more moral outcome. Such as, imagine we just learned Nazi Germany is committing a Holocaust. We could end it right now, or we could take the democratic approach, which might have a lot of partisan propaganda, just people telling, just the people being told from Nazi outlets, oh no, we aren't really committing a Holocaust. Like, do we stop it right now, even if the people aren't in favor of it? So, either way, let me take more of this hallucinogenic substance. See if that does anything. Probably not. Yeah, okay. Let me take this fucking shot. I bet. Let me, okay. You'd bet.
Military and economy forever and fight Russia directly, that country will collapse and Putin could invade Malibu. Here we're quoting directly. Ukraine's economy is in a shambles. Millions of its people have fled. Its infrastructure is being destroyed, and much of its mineral wealth, industrial capacity, and considerable agricultural land are under Russian control. Ukraine's military capability and economy are now entirely...
Yeah, that's why apparently mustard. In France, they don't have mustard. At least they used to not have it. Apparently, mustard is agriculture in Ukraine, and these wheat field, all of these things, since specifically there are things that might help Ukraine to be able to, like, have an economy based on, like, what's it called? Trading these things, yeah, trade, what else? Yeah, trading these things with other countries for profit. Yeah, apparently they bombed a lot of these things, such as mustard, crops like that Ukraine cultivates. I'd imagine Russia and Ukraine should have the same types of landscapes to be able to cultivate that, but yeah, maybe some countries may... Yeah, any countries that would be defending Ukraine would have, like, sanctions or restrictions on Russia, how much they, like, bombard that. Dude,
dependent...
This, like, hallucinogenic substance has such a huge fucking aftertaste.
...on lifelines from the West, primarily the United States. Economy is in a shambles. Millions of its people have fled. Its infrastructure is being destroyed.
Now, I remember at some point he was making a very good point. Tucker Carlson was arguing that Putin was offering a peace contract with Zelensky, and Zelensky was actually offering to take this contract, and the liberals were calling him fucking Putin. People were calling him, what's it called? Yeah, people were calling him a fucking agent of Putin, like a Putin spy. People were calling Zelensky a Putin spy because he was opposed to continuing the war in Russia. And like Zelensky said, apparently Putin told Zelensky, yeah, if you make a contract to abide by, like saying you will not join NATO, we will stop the attack or something. I don't think Tucker got the full right information on that. But yeah, apparently, according to Tucker, Zelensky was in on the contract. He was, he was supporting this agreement with Russia to stop the war if they just didn't join NATO. And I didn't hear any more from Tucker on that. I don't think I must have missed stuff because I only follow him from YouTube. There's a lot of stuff that YouTube doesn't post from this channel, but yeah, like if now Zelensky agreed to that and they're still evading him, what's the argument now?
Destroyed, and much of its mineral wealth, industrial capacity, and considerable agriculture.
Let me look at this. Okay. Girls love you and swag. Okay, yo, Minecraft. Dude, I have a daily reward right now. Dude, let me look on, wait, let me see. Oh, wait, that's not it. Dude, I just wanna get rid of all that, just because at some point, like, I haven't, and it showed fucking porn, because I tend to, like, if I look on Discord, if I look on social medias where my typical fan base tends to send me things, a lot of the time, people, like, in my Discord chat, they'll send fucking that type of shit, because I'm very pro free speech, so any any Discord server that I'll create, for example, I will not create chat rules. Like, the only chat rules I might create would be I'll add a spam fucking channel, and I'll say, if you wanna spam something, if you have a message, if you have like the same message you wanna have 100 times, you have to put in the spam category. If you spam 100 times the same message in another channel, like, I'll just delete the other messages, but I never banned from it or anything. What the hell was I going to look at? Let me see.
Paid up members of the club. And Gates and Rice want you to know in their op-ed in the Post that Ukraine is losing.
Dude, I'll have to go back on my own live stream and see. The way my webcam's probably gonna show me. As opposed to continuing the one in Russian, like Zelensky said, apparently Putin told the Zelensky, yeah, if you make a contract to abide by, like saying you will not join NATO, we will stop the attack or something. I don't think Tucker got the full right information on that. But yeah, apparently, according to Tucker, Zelensky was in on the contract. He was, on the contract. He was, like, yeah, he was supporting a disagreement with Russia to stop the war if they just didn't join NATO. And I didn't hear any more from Tucker on that. I don't think I must have missed stuff because I only follow him from YouTube. A lot of stuff that YouTube doesn't post from this channel, but yeah, like, if now Zelensky agreed to that and they're salvating him, what's the argument now?
Destroyed, and much of its mineral wealth, industrial capacity, and considerable agriculture.
Let me look at this. Girls not react swag. What was I trying to look at? I remember. What's up? I remember. Yeah. Let me look up. Okay. Okay. Let me put all this back up. This is my full fucking name. Let's go. What? Okay. Jesus Christ. I should look at how many friends I actually. How many of these people do I remember, like, any of their old usernames? Let's see. Alright. Yeah, okay, whatever. I won't find out these people, so if you, either way, either way. Just a second. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see, what is this? Okay. Yeah, yeah, leaderboards. Yeah, let's see if I'm still on this. Yeah, 773, that's my reward spree for highest reward spree. Now let's see. Okay, total reward scheme. I'm in 245. Let me see. So 245 versus. Okay, so yeah, I've definitely claimed way more rewards than yeah, so I claim my reward pretty much every day. The only days I don't claim it are sort of yeah, like the days where I like, yeah, the latest thing that what made me drop from I was above 100 daily rewards pre. My computer didn't work. The graphics card, like, there was a promo that I had to take it back to Best Buy for them to repair it. I had to rely on this really old fucking computer, and the internet didn't work on it. Like, for a full day. Legit, if this problem had happened the next day, my computer had already been fixed. Yeah, instead of being on a 10 daily reward spree, I'd be on a 100 and fucking, like, 20 daily reward spree, but let me just, so I'm 245. Yeah, but I don't really play, but I definitely still, claim my daily reward a lot. So yeah, I just need 133. So yeah, I just get what if I got 100 more days of 2233? What if I got 100 more days of daily reward collection? I'd be in almost up 200. Yeah, like 100 and so yeah. So hopefully over time, since like people tend, since I'm autistic, I tend to be in fucking lake repetition. That's actually a symptom of fucking autism that you could tell. Yeah, it'll take me a lot longer to get fucking worn out of Minecraft and start cleaning my daily reward than the average person, so yeah, I'll probably get in the top 100 within some fucking years. Not that it matters, but kike. Is that like dyke? Is that a slur that I don't know? Or is that another curse word I don't know? Am I allowed to say that? Or are people gonna get offended? XD, LMAO, XD, XD, all your Minecraft girlfriends? Those are my stats. Those are all the fucking those are all the fucking data that show why I don't have a girlfriend. What I do instead of having a girlfriend, okay? Oh, fuck. I remember at some point some kid in my school, some apparently was black, he died to police brutality. Everybody, yeah, everybody knew about it. Except the thing is, that kid didn't die. That kid wasn't in our school. That kid was a friend of someone, like a brother or something, of someone who was in our school. And yeah, it went on the announcements and stuff. Wait, let's keep watching this. How many live views do I have? Concurrent viewers. I better fucking entertain you. Okay, you know what? I have so many views. I better start entertaining people. Uh, let me take out my firecrackers so I have some firecrackers. I'm getting so many people. I can't let y'all down. So here's a firecracker. My mother's here. She's probably gonna bitch about this. So that might be more entertainment. Is she gonna say anything? Well, Jewish slur. I think I heard about that, about one of those ones, but either way, Let's see if she says anything. That made a lot of noise. Is she gonna say anything? I don't know. Either way, let's just shut the fuck up and keep streaming. Alright, let's go. I'm gonna off myself next. I'm not allowed to buy new fonts. Why? Why aren't you allowed to buy the new Fortnite skin? They have new skins. Like, they still release new skins. Like, they still fucking exist. Not like fucking Club Penguin. LMAO. Actually, dude, I'm so drunk. I love being drunk. I should fucking do that more often. And, like, yeah, whatever I'm saying, all that. Yeah, 64 people. How did that even happen? Honestly, that's amazing, but let me keep watching this.
Badly. In fact, they write, unless the U.S. continues to prop up Ukraine's military and economy forever and fight Russia directly, that country will collapse and Putin could invade Malibu.
I mean, yeah, people will tend to say, oh, well, you keep fucking, like, how long is this gonna go on for? Like, dude, this isn't, nobody ever said for this amount of time we're going to fund Ukraine and then it's gonna stop. No one ever, like, got together on a certain amount of time during which we're going to support this war. And it's like, oh, well, they're just crushing it now, and it seems like they're trying to make it indefinite. Like, no, anyone who's trying to support the Ukrainians in the war against Russia, yeah, they're going to keep wanting to have Ukraine funded for whatever it needs to fight to fend off Russia until Russia stopped invading Ukraine, until the war in Ukraine is over, until Russia stopped, until Russia has, like, what's it called, stepped down from Ukraine, until it's surrendered its invasion. So, yeah, it would only make sense that they would keep sending these weapons, like, no matter how long they keep doing this, as long as the war in Russia isn't over, as long as Russia and Ukraine haven't like made a peace agreement, as long as this war is ongoing, uh, there's no reason to say why are you still funding this. Like, yeah, the reason to ever have started funding this is still ongoing. The war is still ongoing, so you keep needing more weapons because these weapons, they aren't fucking reusable. Like, they aren't like a pencil sharpener. You just get a pencil and you get pencil sharpeners. Like, oh, we've already sent you guns. We've already sent you fucking bullets, dude. Like, I don't know, the nukes. We probably sent you the nukes as well as the ammo for whatever fucking weapons we sent over there. We probably sent you weapons and we sent you ammo. So now that you have weapons, right? It's like, dude, as long as the war is ongoing, weapons isn't like I don't know, fucking, I'm so gone right now. Yeah, it's not like having roads, like, oh, well, let's say all of a sudden you have, you have a road system, there's roads fucking already built, already fucking, like, taken care of. Oh, well, let's just compare that to a country that doesn't already have a system with roads and all, that has to build all its roads. Like, that shit costs fucking money. You can't already do that. And it's the same thing with that. It's not like, oh, well, you already have roads. Now just fucking just go from there. Just, oh, well, you have more needs to start having cars start rolling on the road. Well, the roads are already built. like, the weapons are not like that. The weapons are not, oh, well, just keep fucking rolling on it. Like, it's still there. Like, sure, the roads might get, like, no, the weapons, it won't take as long for the weapons, once they've been supplied, for them to just be all used up as, say, the roads. Like, oh, well, we've already fucking supplied you with the weapons. We've already fucking, installed roads. Well, what else do you need? No, you keep needing weapons because, they get used up as they go. Once you've, fucking, oh, we've given you weapons and ammo, yeah, once the ammo is used up, the fight might still be fucking ongoing. Either way, let me, look my, I'm not feeling necessarily very, fucking, like, trippy, necessarily. I don't feel, I don't feel like I'm hallucinating, you know. Okay, I don't have enough. What? Hey, I don't have enough money in my PayPal for what? I know. Either way, let me check out my channel. Great fucking channel. A lot of people watching. It's fucking epic, dude. Hell, fucking yeah, dude. You know what? Let me actually go on to my fucking channel, dude. You know what? Let me do that. I mean, you know what? Want this? Let me actually go on to my fucking channel, dude. Yeah, let me just fucking like that. Either way, yeah, dude, no, that's not okay.
Here we're quoting directly. Ukraine's economy is in a shambles. Millions of its people have fled. Its infrastructure.
Oh yeah, I just remember. Holy shit! It seems like an hour ago I made that point. It was based on, yeah. So it might be beneficial for Ukraine, in a fucking government that doesn't necessarily take its people's fucking status quo into account. It just takes its fucking, at least like its donors' status quo. Yeah, to try to fearmonger, say, oh well, now is when we need to, like, now is when all this matters. Like, yeah, I know, like, people might think, oh well, wouldn't it have mattered more back when Putin actually declared war on Ukraine? Uh, oh no, now is when you need to care about this more than ever. Um, Thing is, if we want to win this war, if we want to win this war, pushing this narrative more might actually be the difference, because, um, depending on how many people will convince that this should be taken as seriously as possible, depending on how much approval, how much we can do, like, on one side versus the other, how much approval we have for this, like, yeah, depending on how seriously we take it right now, whether or not it's a huge issue now, yeah, our futures may depend on it, because I'm sure, I don't know anything about Hitler, and again, this has nothing to do with comparing the two, but I'm sure back when Hitler hadn't already started, and back when Hitler had only started invading its first fucking country, right? Uh, like, I'm sure we all thought, oh well, it's gonna stop there. But even if it stopped there, uh, if Hitler imposed the fucking rules that Hitler would fucking impose on its people, given the fact that this was the same guy who genocided so many in concentration camps and all. Yeah, no fucking country should be allowed to be overtaken and ruled by a dictator when there are other democratic countries just fucking standing by and watching. And now that Putin has committed actual fucking like fucking acts of horror, like in terms of launch, and I don't know what I'm saying, but like, yeah, he's committed genocides. He's bombed fucking elementary schools. People who clearly weren't soldiers. Like, it's not even up to debate whether or not Putin has like intentionally killed civilians, intentionally targeted civilians in the efforts to win this one, in this attack. And it's like, yeah, at this point, any country which is in favor of democracy should say, no, you can't do that. And Ukraine isn't even fighting back by killing Russian civilians. So whether or not Ukraine is a part of NATO, whether or not we legally abide by protecting them, say because they're one of our own and we have a policy for that, the whole fucking idea, the whole fucking ideology behind having this system is for moral reasons, and by moral reasons, we shouldn't allow this, and we should side with a country that is just trying to protect its own people, that hasn't even responded to Russia by attacking its civilians, which, on the other hand, is at the same time getting fucking its civilians bombarded, and having its citizens' human rights being violated by this opposing. Like, no, this is a moral question, and that's what the UN was made for. That's what what NATO, whatever the Ukrainians are trying to join it. So why would we care whether or not officially we should side with them? The whole thing was formed based on morals. That's the whole point, honestly, to some extent, behind the law. It is very fixated on morals. It's fixated on making sure that you don't force anybody, you don't hurt people in what you do. Like, morals, you could assign that to acts that are a negative, neutral, and positive. Like, if you force a positive influence, a positive experience onto someone that's positive, if you force some negative that's negative, the whole idea behind the law is to make sure you don't impose any experiences that people don't like. But dude, I feel like I'm getting so fucking off topic. My hands are shaking and shit. Either way, let me um, yeah, bro, I'm fucking hella good, bro. I'm chilling, bro. Yo, y'all chilling, bro? I'm chilling. Hell yeah, I'm chilling, bro. Yo, honestly, I don't know. With that, I might play like 1 or 2 games of some on Minecraft, since y'all clearly like want me to, but I'll probably do fucking horrible. Let me make sure, like, any of that. Yeah, I sort of finished watching that. Alright, that's good. Hopefully this won't crash my live stream. Like, otherwise I'll just restart it, honestly.
Badly. In fact, they write, unless the U.S. continues to prop up Ukraine's military and economy forever and fight Russia directly, that country will collapse and Putin could invade Malibu. Here we're quoting directly. Ukraine's economy is in a shambles. Millions of its people have fled. Its infrastructure is being destroyed, and much of its mineral wealth, industrial capacity, and considerable agricultural land are under Russian control. Ukraine's military capability and economy are now entirely dependent on lifelines from the West, primarily the United States. End quote. Wait, what? Isn't that the opposite, the direct opposite of what you...
Dude, I have a date with Juan.